Bestie, it's Lisa. Welcome or welcome back. This episode is all about wreaths for every season.
DIY. I'm starting off with a little kind of basket hanger that I got at the Goodwill for $2.99. And I've got my sunflowers, of course, from Dollar Tree. I'm going to use two different paints, the cashew and the hazelnut. So I'm going to start off with the cashew, just kind of dry brushing around the basket, and then I'll add a little bit of the cashew where I think it needs it, but it's optional. I'm just trying to lighten up this basket. I don't really like the dark color that it already is. And there it is, all finished. Now the basket was a little flimsy, probably because it was at the Goodwill, who knows. And I'm going to take two zip ties. I'm going to push them in from the inside and then pull them tight around the handles of this little basket to make sure it's very secure. And then I've got this burlap fabric that I got from a little thrift store. I got that whole bunch of it for $4. I'm going to cut off a piece, fray the ends, and kind of fold it into a triangle and position it inside the basket. I'm going to take my sunflowers and I'm going to bend the stems, and I'm just going to figure out how I want to arrange them. Right now I'm putting it on both sides, if you will. I do end up putting them all to the right as you're looking at it because I'm going to add a word on there that's made out of wood. But right now you see me kind of playing with it, trying to figure out how I want to arrange them. I have this thankful and blessed wooden sign from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to draw a little line where the letters touch so I know where I want to cut with my utility knife or X-Acto blade. And I'm just going to go ahead and score it over and over until it comes apart, and I'll take off the whole word blessed. I'll sand down the rough edges where I cut it, and then I'm going to paint the whole thing with a base coat of plaster chalk paint from Waverly. And after I do that, I'm going to take the maize color from Waverly, and I'm going to kind of, at first I was lightly dry brushing, and then I went on a little heavier because I really want it to stand out when you look at it. I'm going to take a furniture marker in the color Walnut from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to go around all of the little edges just to make it pop a little more. I think it needed something darker. And then I'm going to hot glue it right there at the top of the circle part of the basket, and I'm going to put that at diagonal, and that's it. This one is done. I think it's so cute. You can arrange the flowers any way you want. I love it. This was so easy. For this hack, I'm going to use about 15 book pages. I've got some burlap, I've got a little bamboo wreath from the Dollar Tree, and also some burlap that I already had on hand. I'm going to pull the pages out of the book, and then I'm going to trim off where the edges are uneven. I'm going to take each one of these and I'm going to fold them in half, and then I'm going to take the top right corner, fold it over, and the left side, fold it all the way across. I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm not going to cut up on the top part there. I turn this around. I'm going to cut like a petal shape, make sure it stays within that one part, and then open it up, and look at that, you end up with a flower. So here I am again, it's folded. I'm just going to cut a petal shape, open that up, and there you go, there's a flower. If you need to go back and replay that, go right ahead. Now I'm going to cut off 3 petals. I'm going to cut off another one that has 2 petals and 1. So you need exactly what it's on the screen here. Go ahead and take a screenshot or stop it and write that down. I'm going to take the top of each petal, I'm going to roll it over with my pencil. I'm also going to cut a little bit between the petals just so they're not so, tight. And I'm going to take this one single petal, roll it up. Then I'm going to take the 2 petals, roll it up. I don't hot glue it. You can use any glue you want. And then I'll do the same thing with the 3 petal, and then I'll put them all inside each other. You know, like those little Russian dolls that nest inside of each other? That's basically what's going to happen. I'm just going to roll up everything and leave the 2 full flowers out and until I get done with the other ones. So I will glue them into each other. So right at the end, you might snip a little piece off the end so it's flatter. Go ahead and put the glue on it, put them inside of each other like I'm doing right here. And then when you get to the last 2 full flowers, take the smaller of the 2 if one is smaller, and you're just going to glue right into the center that piece that has all those other pieces. And then you're only going to glue the very bottom of each petal so they can still fold outward. See what I'm doing? I'm just putting it way inside. I'm pushing down and folding the petal outward. I'm going to do the same exact thing with this one. Now, once I have that done, I'm going to need 5 of these altogether for this bamboo wreath. It's a smaller wreath. It's not like a 14-inch. It's probably like a 6-inch wreath, I'm guessing. And there's what the flower looks like. Isn't that beautiful? Then I'm going to take the burlap. I'm going to do the same kind of folding and glue the flower right into the burlap. And then I will also put a little glue on each petal of the burlap, just like I did with the last flower. I'm going to glue the very back of the flower and right to the bamboo wreath, and I'm only going to put them on half of the wreath. These little bamboo wreaths are odd shaped, so pick the way it'll look the best with your flowers and give it more of a round look. I took a little piece of twine, just tucked it through the twine that was already on the wreath, made a knot, and pulled it up, and that's my hanger. That little garland I had from the Target dollar spot, I'm just going to cut off each leaf that I need and put them all around the outside or back of the flower so that you see just a glimpse of it. I'm going to do that for the whole side where the flowers are, and look at that, it's so pretty. Such an easy wreath. I love this one. Let me know what you think.
An open heart when your world is a mess. That's the only kind of love, the only kind of love. No need for presents.
Adorable and whimsical wreath. I'm going to take this little grapevine wreath that I got at the Dollar Tree. It might actually be bamboo. I've got this piece left over of this decorative mesh. And then I found these headbands. They're so cute with the little bunnies on springs. And so I grabbed a couple of them, and I'm just going to pull off the bunnies, and then I'm going to snip off that spring because I don't need it. But first, before I start all this, I'm going to take a little piece of twine and stick it under the twine that's already on there, tie a knot and glue it down, and that will be my hanger, and now I don't have to worry about that. I'm going to take this decorative mesh, and I'm just going to attach it to one of those pieces of twine again. And I'm going to wrap it around, but leaving spaces so that you can still see the wood part of the wreath, because I want it to still have that look as well as the pretty colorful decorative mesh. And you'll see what I'm doing here in just a second. I'm also going to make sure that the really shiny, glittery side is facing up. So I'll just kind of twist it as it goes around, leave a little gap, and do the same thing and make sure the shiny side is up. And I'm going to go all the way around. And there it is. And I'm just going to snip off the excess and tie that down with some more twine. And that will be that. And I'll put a little drop of hot glue just to make sure it stays secure. You could use zip ties if you wanted to do this as well. So I'm going to place the bunnies where I think I want them to go and just look at that. Since I had two purple ones and then a pink and a blue one, I decided to put the purple ones on those two sides and then put the other one on the top and the bottom. I'm going to take my snips and just break off that little spring and hot glue the bunnies right onto the wreath. This is such an easy DIY. You could do this with your grandkids or kids, and I think it would be super fun and they'd feel like they really accomplished something. Now that I've got all four of the bunnies on, I felt like it looked a little plain. And I had these leftover Easter eggs from Dollar Tree that I found in my stash, always trying to use my stash. And I realized I was probably never going to use them, so I just went ahead and hot glued them on in between each bunny, so I used 4 of them. And now they're gone. I got to use up more stash. I'm so happy. And like I said, this is just a cutesy, fun, whimsical wreath, not high-end, fancy kind of thing, just something super cute. I've got some greenery that I got on Amazon, and I can never remember if these are eucalyptus or boxwood, but I'm going to put one in between every piece and just kind of dress up the wreath a little bit. I hope you like it. This wooden carrot at the Dollar Tree in the Crafter Square. I've also got this contact paper from the Dollar Tree and this cute little like bee looking pinwheel flower. Got this cool ribbon. I'm going to cut out a piece of that contact paper that would just fit over the whole carrot, and I'll start at the top and then I'll slowly pull the backing away from underneath while I'm using my other hand to kind of flatten it out, and that helps to avoid bubbles and wrinkles. I'm going to use my brayer over the top. I get that on Amazon, super good price there. If you're interested, you can check out my Amazon store. And then I'm going to use a nail file to go around the edges and just make very nice clean cut of that paper. I've got that pinwheel flower, and I just took an X-Acto knife and cut out the bead looking fabric or plastic, and I'm going to use this green cool ribbon. I don't know what this ribbon is, but I love it. And I'm going to glue it to this flower petal, and now you see that it looks like it's like greenery. And then I'm going to make 3 of those, and I'm going to take some white acrylic paint and I'm just going to paint that black stuff white. And now I've got the carrot. I'm going to take some rope from Walmart, and I'm just going to hot glue it all the way around the carrot and all the way around those 3 petals. And that keeps this looking rustic. I'm going to poke a hole back through the 2 holes that were already in the wooden carrot that I can put a hanger. And then I'm going to hot glue to the back with the white side facing front those 3 petals, and now they have become greenery on the carrot. Now I've just added some extra hot glue on the back and a piece of masking tape. I'm going to take this greenery that I also got on Amazon, and then I've got a ribbon made out of green burlap, and I'm just going to measure how long I want it to be, and I'm going to fold it over like 6 times and cut it. And then I'm going to fold the whole thing in half, and I'm going to cut a little slit on each side, and then I'm going to take some jute and tie the middle in a very tight knot, and then I'll trim off the excess jute. And now what I'm going to do is just pull out each of those little loops and kind of fluff my ribbon. And that's just a super, super easy way to make a ribbon. For the tail, I'm just going to measure out a piece that's long enough, and I'm going to cut it, I'm going to fold it in half, and then dovetail the ends. And then I'm going to hot glue the ribbon on top of right where the greenery meets the carrot. And I'm going to fold that tail and put it underneath with hot glue. And then I'm going to make a little banner looking fold down the tail. I'm going to do the same thing with a couple other ribbons that I used to do smaller versions of that same ribbon. And then I made 2 shoestring bows with these cute little ribbons I had. And I just hot glue them right to the center. Now I'm going to kind of trim that little greenery just to make little wispy pieces, hot glue them all the way around that top greenery. And I love how this turned out. It is such an adorable Easter spring carrot. I love it. Let me know what you think. Using about 5 or 6 corks, and then I've got this foam wreath ring from the Dollar Tree, a wired jute, and some rope from Walmart, and then that burlap I got at a thrift store for $4 for that whole thing. I cut out strips of the burlap, and then I'm going to start gluing it and wrap it around the wreath form, and that way you won't see the green, it'll overlap, and I'm going to do that for the whole thing and just hot glue each piece and start a new one. Now I'm going to trim off those little flyaway pieces from the burlap. There it is, and I love the way it looks. Now I have a nice base. And I'm going to use the wired rope. I'm going to create a tree of life looking wreath. So I'm going to use the wired jute to do the shape of the trunk and the branches. And then there's a wire in it, and I'm going to stab it into the foam and hot glue it to secure it down. And I'm looking at a picture of a tree of life, and I'm just positioning the leaves like it looks in the picture. You could do yours any way you want. And then I'm just going to kind of wrap around in the middle there and attach it. And then I'll take the next piece up to the top, clip it, and then stick the wire in and hot glue. And I'll do that until I have as many branches as I want. You could do this, however you want it to look. Like I said, I'm just looking at a picture that I saw. And now I'm just going to wrap it around the very trunk of the tree and start getting that a little bit thicker. And I'll just go all the way around and attach it at the end. There is the base of the tree right there. Now I'm going to put a hanger on the back before I go too much further. And I'm going to take the corks, and I'm just going to use my X-Acto knife, and I'm going to start cutting little teeny slices. Now, I can't give you an exact number because it depends on how many leaves you want to put on your tree. Now I'm going to take that rope from Walmart, and I'm going to start building, and I'm just going to wrap it around and then go up and down. And you'll see here in just a second, you could do this any way you want to. It just kind of whatever looks good to you. So I just made a little bit of it thicker, and then I added some more, and then added some more, and there it is. That's the way I wanted it to look. Now I'm going to put hot glue on each of those slices. I'm going to start putting those little cork slices on the branches, and then I'm going to put some underneath by the trunk as if the leaves fell. Now off camera, I did dry brush these with the burn color chalk paint from Waverly because I felt like maybe you wouldn't know they were leaves. I don't know. So I just put a little bit on there. I think this came out beautiful, and I just love it. Let me know what you think. I've got these 3 gorgeous metal flowers, and then I've also got one of the stove burner covers that comes with a set of 2, and then I've got some reindeer moss, and I've got several packets of that I'm going to use. First thing though, before I forget, I'm going to put a hanger on the back. I've got this like kind of a ribbon from a gift bag, and I didn't want to waste it, so I just went ahead and glued it on, put some masking tape with more glue, and then I painted it black just to match the back. I'm going to use my Aleene's tacky glue and I'm going to put it all over the inside of the stove burner cover. I'm going to use it where the edges are turning up towards me. And then I'll just use a foam brush and spread it out. And then I'm going to break down that reindeer moss. And let me tell you, it's messy. It just is. And I'm going to put it all over the glue. And I'm going to do that to the entire thing.
Yesterday, there was sun and there was rain.
Once I've got it all on there, I'm going to use this spray adhesive that I got at Dollar Tree just to kind of make sure there aren't little pieces that are going to fly off, because that happens with this reindeer moss. So I'm just going to spray it generously, and then I'm going to get out my heat tool and dry it off to make sure that it's not wet when I'm trying to work with it. I'm going to take the little hangers on those flowers and hot glue them down because we're not going to use those on these. And then I'm going to figure out how I want to position the 3 flowers. Kind of wanted them to overlap and then hang over the edge a little bit. So I'm just going to use a generous amount of hot glue and I'm going to place each flower on there.
And as the light startled our eyes, we let go of disguise. Something in the air and a sparkly shimmer on our skin, restoring everything within. Oh.
I'm going to take these little full flowers. I'm going to take a blue one, a pink one, and then these little teeny white, I don't know what they're called exactly. I'm just going to go ahead and hot glue the little flowers to the center of the flowers just to give them a little more interest. I wasn't super fond of the black circle in the middle of them. And that's it. This one was pretty easy. A little messy, but very easy. Let me know what you think.
Yesterday, there was sun and there was rain. Beauty in the mundane.
I am going to use the butterfly portion of that little metal piece, and then I've got this little cute rainbow sign. I'm going to actually use the back. So I'm going to use my heat tool from Amazon and get that thing off there. They can be very stubborn. And then I'm going to unscrew the hanger because we're going to use the back as the front. So I'm going to sand it down, put a little bit of spackle in there, and sand it down again.
Yesterday, there was sun and there was rain. Beauty.
I'm going to use my Agave Waverly chalk paint, which I love, and paint the whole thing. And then I got these wall tiles, and I think I got them at Target Dollar Spot. And I'm just going to put a couple of them on just to give it, a little bit of more interest. And I just love that because it's see-through in the clear parts so you can see the agave color. I'm going to sand down the edges with my nail file. And then I've got this really gorgeous metal ribbon from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to cut it to size with my little nippers and hot glue the piece on. And then I use the side of a scissors to push the sides down. And I put one on each side of the tile. I ordered these really cool papers from Amazon that have like antique looking handwriting and stuff like that. So I figured out the size I needed by kind of rubbing down on the edge of that metal ribbon. And I'm just going to lay down some Mod Podge, and I'm going to set my little piece down and then put some more Mod Podge right over the top. I'm going to cover the whole thing actually in Mod Podge just to make sure everything is nice and sealed. And then I'm going to use my nippers again and just cut off those butterfly wings. I'm not really into fairies, so I decided to take that piece off. And I'm just going to hot glue this right in the middle. I position the wings up a little bit so this would lay flatter, and I'm just going to go ahead and put that right there, just at a slight angle. And I just like the way that looks.
As the light startled our eyes.
I got this packet from Crafter Square of these really pretty green and black and kind of lime colored butterfly stickers. And I'm going to put one right in the middle of the butterfly. And then I've also got this greenery. I believe I got this at the Target Dollar Spot also. And I'm just going to take 2 pieces, tie them around the stems, meeting together like a swag with some jute. And I'm doing that, 1, to hold them together, and 2, it gives me a place to attach something. And I put some more butterflies kind of randomly on the leaves. And then this one whitish flower, I'm just putting right in the middle. And then I'm going to hot glue the little swag down to each side of the sign. And I love this one. It's so mixed media. You'll have to let me know what you think. My husband really loved this one too. Are you guys into mixed media?
Yesterday, there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane. And as
Dollar Tree, and a really cute bee-themed placemat I got on the Dayton Air Force Base. And I'm going to go ahead and cut around where that green circle is around and cut off the gray part, only because it won't fit on the pizza pan. And once I get that on there, I'm using these pinwheels I found at the Dollar Tree that look like little bee wings. Now, they're brighter yellow, and I need to kind of pull this all together. So I'm using a folk art yellow paint, and I'm going to do the centers of the flowers, the beehive, and then I'm going to go over each of those little wings and kind of dull that yellow down so that it all ties together and matches better. And I'm happy with that once I do that. The only thing is the black is so black. So I'm just going to brush, like dry brush over the wings, and that kind of blurs it a little bit, and I think that's perfect. Now I'm going to match up 2 wings so that it looks like each one's a bee, and I'm going to hot glue them together, and then I'm going to hot glue them underneath the little placemat. I'm going to take this really pretty buffalo check ribbon that I got on sale at Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to start making pleats. So you see I've pleated the entire thing, just folding it like a little accordion. Now every 2 pleats, I'm going to glue the top of them together. Then I'll skip one, and then I'll glue 2 together, and then I'll skip one, and then I'll glue 2 together, and I'll do this all the way around the entire circle. Once I get that done, I'm going to start gluing down about every 3 or so pleats. I will glue it down to the combination of the edge of the pizza pan and the placemat. And I will do that all the way around as well. Now, after I've done that, I will go back and I will add some more hot glue and just kind of secure it in different places all the way around. And I didn't want to cut off the ribbon until I was sure I had enough, because if I cut it, I'd have to add extra pieces, and I didn't want to do that. So that just worked out perfectly to just leave it attached to the strand of ribbon. Now I'm going to turn it over and put my little hanger on the way I always do. Use some kind of a rope, hot glue, and a little piece of masking tape. It's very secure. Now I'm going to make a messy bow. So I'm going to take 7-inch strips of bow, and I'm using all different kinds of bows, and I'm going to use, or ribbons I should say. I'm going to use 3 pieces each, and then before I put it together, I'm going to dovetail all of the ends so that that will already be done and I won't have to deal with that. Now I'm going to stack them randomly, sideways, crisscross, across, and then I'm going to take a piece of jute cord, take it underneath, and tie it in the back as tight as I can. Then I'm going to fluff out my bow, and I'm going to stick that jute cord right through my ribbon that goes around the wreath, and I'm going to tie it on real tight, and then I'm going to hot glue it as well, just to make sure it stays in place. This is so cute, you guys. I'm loving this, but I need something for the center of my bow, and I had these little pom-poms from a little Dollar Tree sign that I had taken off. They were pink and yellow, which went with this perfectly, so I just glued them together, and then I hot glued them to the center. And this one's done. I hope you guys like it as much as I do. It's amazing what you can do with a Dollar Tree pizza pan. From the 3D wreath form from Dollar Tree, and these little like ladybug wing looking pinwheels from the Dollar Tree. I'm using my tin snips to pull off the little wings, and I have that in my Amazon store. All my supplies that I use regularly will always be down in my Amazon store. And now I'm just putting them on a piece of cardboard to figure out how big I should make each of the little bodies. So I'm using this little container I have, and I'm tracing out circles. I'm going to make 8 of them. And then I have this really nice cardstock scrapbook paper, and I'm going to cut the circles out. I'm going to use my premium decoupage solution, and I'm going to attach them to the scrapbook paper. And then I'm going to cut them all out. Once I have them all cut out, I'm going to take my brayer and I'm going to rub over the top of them to make sure that they are very well adhered to the cardboard. And then I'm going to take this poly rope that you can get in the automotive section at the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut pieces that wrap all the way around each of these circles, and I'm going to hot glue them on. And I'm only going to show you one, but I'm going to do it to all 8 of them. Now I'm going to take 2 wings at a time, and I'm going to hot glue them together. I want them to look like they're in flight. So I'm going to lay each set of 2 over each other so I can try to get them pretty much the same exact size. And once I have done that, I'm going to take those little circles, and I'm also going to do the same thing and hot glue them to the back side or the underside of the little wings. So you just see that little part of the black body coming through, and then I'll lay it on top of the next one so I can try to get them again about the same size each. And I'll do that to all 8 of them. Once all of those are done, I'm going to put that little piece on top of some more cardboard and draw out kind of freehand like a head. And once I get the shape I want, I'm going to cut that out with a utility knife, and then I will use it to trace and make 7 more so that I have 8 of those. And then I'm going to do the same thing with that same scrapbook paper, adhere it using the premium decoupage, and then I'll use the poly rope in black and put that all the way around with hot glue. And then I will hot glue those to each of the little ladybugs, and now they will not only have wings, but they will have a head and a body. This whole thing started when I saw those pinwheels. I immediately knew what I was going to do with them, and it's coming to life here, and it's really fun when you come up with an idea and then you can make it work. I'm using my little snips to take those wires that are holding the wings out, and I'm kind of bending them in because I don't want them in the way. I want to be able to put the heads on and not have the wires sticking out. So I just did that with all of them, and then I hot glued the heads on like I mentioned and got those wires out of the way. I was going to snip them off, but I was kind of concerned that the shape wouldn't hold. Now, I didn't have any black chenille stems, so I used yellow ones and a black permanent marker, and I just colored them, and that's how I made their little antennae. And then I just curled the tops and cut them out, and I'm going to hot glue those to the underside of the head so they're sticking straight out, which you will see here in a moment. And they are so cute. The only thing is I really needed to wait for them to dry because I got black permanent marker all over my fingers. That was not fun. I have this black and red kind of, it's almost like buffalo check mesh that I got at the Dollar Tree a long time ago. And I only had this one little roll, and so I really had to make it work. So I created a little loop, and I had cut up some red chenille stems, and I wrapped them around the ends of the loop and then attached them to the ring. And then I pulled another couple, maybe 2.5 inches, made another loop, wrapped the little chenille stem around that and attach it to the ring. And I literally do this all the way around the entire thing. And then I stretched it as far as I could to make sure that it would fit. Unfortunately, the little ladybugs cover any of the gaps, so that worked out really well. But I thought just to fill in, I wasn't sure what would show in between, so I wanted to make sure that there was some red and black in there, and this just was the perfect solution for that. Now I'm going to lay the ladybugs on there. Basically their head will be facing out and their body will be facing in, and I'm going to hot glue them, and now that mesh gives me something to hot glue to as well. So I'm going to do that with all 8 of them, and then I'm going to turn them over and secure them even more on the back side with a little more hot glue. Then I have this red steering wheel cover that I bought at the Dollar Tree, and I thought I can cover the back of that ring with this so that it will make the back look a little nicer, and it gives me one more surface to hot glue everything to. So I took out some of the thread and I got rid of some of the gathering on just one side of it. Then I hot glue each little piece to it, turned it over, added a little more hot glue, put a red chenille stem as a hanger, and then it's ready for me to add a little sign to the front of it. I'm going to take a little square plank that came in a 6-pack from Dollar Tree. I'm going to find the center, and then I'm going to use a utility knife and just cut it in half, and it cuts pretty easily. I just turn it over and score both sides and the edges, and then it breaks right in half, and then I just kind of clean up the edges. And I'm going to go ahead and use this to make one thin, longer little sign. I didn't have a piece of scrap wood that was just right for this. I'm going to use a little bit of my Tight Bond adhesive, which is really good, and it works great with wood and all kinds of surfaces. And then a little hot glue for the immediate hold. I'm going to use a nail file from the Dollar Tree to sand all the edges. I'm going to get some scrapbook paper for my first layer. This is going to be like paper crafting. So there's my first piece. And then I have a friend who has a channel who does some amazing paper crafting things. Her name is Linda at FaithChick777 DIY by Design. And she takes her little scissors and she scrapes all the edges of her paper and gives it texture. And I wanted to try this so bad. So that's what I'm doing. And I will link her channel down below. And now I'm going to take that paper that I've scraped all the edges, and I'm going to put it on top of that piece of wood that I assembled. Then I'm going to cut out another piece of scrapbook paper using that same piece of wood as a template, but then I will take my paper cutter and make it a little bit smaller because this will become the second layer. So I'm going to do that, scrape the edges on that. I'm not going to show you, but I'm doing it. And then I'm going to use my brayer and attach it. I'm going to take a third layer of scrapbook paper, cut that one even smaller. So again, each layer you can see the one below it, and then I'm going to take some paper that's like red that doesn't have a pattern on it, and I couldn't get one whole piece that was long enough, so I put two together, and I did the same thing, scraped the edges, I glued that on there, and now I'm going to take some black paint from Waverly, which is called ink, and I'm going to do all the edges. I could have used a marker, and I didn't think of that till after the fact, but you could do that too. Then I am going to use a marker. That's when I thought of it. And I'm going to figure out where the center of the word welcome is and start there. And then I'm going to write my letters. Try to do a little bit of kind of like a ready done font, but by hand. And then I'm going to make a little swirly design on each side, kind of how a ladybug might be flying. And I found a little teeny ladybug when I was cleaning out under my stove. I don't even know where it came from, but I cleaned it up and I am hot gluing it right on there. And it was perfect. It was like this was meant to be. I'm going to hot glue that sign right to the center of the ladybug wreath. And I just think this came out so cute. I hope you guys like it. Definitely let me know. Holder that I found at the Goodwill. Gosh, it was last spring, I think. I spray painted it with Rust-Oleum's 2-in-1 paint and primer in the semi-gloss, and I did about 3 or 4 coats, just light ones to build up. And then I've got these little LED wire lights from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use those and these gorgeous flowers from the Dollar Tree that I've had for quite a while. And I'm going to use my snips, which are in my Amazon store linked below, to go ahead and cut all the little flower stems off because I want to put them inside this cork holder. I'm going to turn it into a really pretty floral arrangement with lights, almost to look like a bird cage kind of, but not a bird cage. Does that make sense? This DIY is almost too easy. After I painted it, I'm literally just arranging the flowers inside. I'm not gluing them down so I can change them out seasonally if I want. And then I'm gonna put the light inside and literally, I mean, that's it. It's already got a hanger on the back to hang it up. And just imagine I could change out those florals or put birds in there, whatever it is. Fake birds, not real birds, obviously. And just hang it up. It's so cute. I absolutely love it. And honestly, if you can ever find one of these, you could even use like one of the wreath forms from Dollar Tree, the ones like the football shape or the basket shape hanging planter. You could turn a lot of things into this. I know it's hard to find the exact items at thrift stores, but just use your imagination and take inspiration from this. And that's kind of what I did when I found it. I didn't know I was going to be able to find something like this, but I'm loving how it turns out. And I've already got it up in my house. I'm super excited. I've always wanted something like this. You guys will have to let me know what you think in the comments, and let me know if it's something you would maybe want to try, if you could find something that would work. And the last thing I'm going to do is just pull some of the flower petals through the cage and pull some of the leaves through so it looks like it's kind of overgrown. And I just love it. I didn't want them just stuffed and squished inside there. So to me, this really makes it look cute, like when they start to stick out a little bit. And that's it. Literally, this one is done. I'm using some book pages again, and I'm going to actually put it on a Cricut mat. And I went into Cricut Studio and I got some little butterfly shapes that would fit what I'm going to use them for. And I went ahead and I had them cut, and now I'm just leading them out. And I'm going to take them off the mat. And then what I'm going to do is bend them all in the middle. So it kind of looks like the wings are flying, like when a butterfly's wings are up against each other. And then I'm going to add these pieces of what would be trash to a really small little wreath I got at Dollar Tree. I'm going to glue them on, but first I'm going to add some other things to the wreath. I have this really pretty flower pick that I got at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to pull off some actual little flowers without the stems, and then some of those little green kind of berries. And then I found a couple different ribbons at Dollar Tree. One is a little thin polka dotted kind of a ribbon, and they're a little bit see-through, and then one is a pink, and they're just so pretty and light. And I didn't want to overpower the wreath with a lot of color because I want the butterflies to really be kind of the focal point, if you will. So I'm just wrapping the ribbon around, hot gluing it, kind of in a diagonal, and then I'm going to add the thinner one with the polka dots over the middle of the pink one just to give it a little bit of a layered look, and I'm really liking the way that's turning out. This little piece of burlap left over from a DIY in my last video, and I didn't want to waste it, so I decided to use it to make a hanger. I just cross it around itself and hot glue it to the back, and then secure it with another little piece of that same burlap, and then I'm going to have a nice little hanger for my wreath. And as I said before, I'm going to take the little flowers and some of those little green berries and just kind of randomly put them around the wreath. I don't want to go crazy. I'm not going to cover the whole thing, but just, intermittently with space between them all, I'm going to add them to the wreath just to give it some color and make it a little spring-like. I'm going to hot glue the little butterflies in various places. I want it to look like they just kind of landed wherever on the wreath. And I absolutely love them. I think with the words on them, it's just the sweetest thing. It's making me want to do more DIYs with book pages. I just think it's such a sweet touch. And I don't know, let me know what you think. I just love this. I've never done anything like this before, and I'm so happy with how it's turning out. My only regret is that I didn't make them bigger. Metal DIY. I'm going to use actually two pieces of their metal. This cute little metal wreath welcome sign and the bottle cap one. And I got those both in the Crafter Square. I've got these, I think they're ranunculus, and then also these blossom ferns from the Dollar Tree. And what I'm going to do is take out the twine at the top of the welcome one, and I'm just going to take a fine art brush and I'm going to paint the word welcome in my linen white Rust-Oleum chalk paint. I'm going to leave the rest of it silver. So there you go, I did 2 coats. Now I'm going to start pulling off some of the greenery off of that blossom fern. I'm going to take 4 pieces and just kind of position them on the inside of the bottle cap. And I will hot glue them down just however I think would look pretty. There's really no right way to do this. I'm going to take some of those little blue flowers off of there. I'm just going to put them around. And I do need to put that welcome sign over it so I can see what's going to be blocked and what isn't. So I'm going to take some hot glue and I'm just going to go around and hot glue that top metal piece to the bottle cap bottom. And I'm going to do it in about 4 or 5 places just to get it on there nice and secure. There's nothing heavy. I'm not worried about it with bearing any weight. So this should be pretty simple to do. I'm going to take off the little, I always want to call them baby tulips, but I think they're ranunculus, and I'm probably even saying that wrong. I'm going to take the leaves off, and I'm just going to take the little bud, and I'm put it in those 3 holes on the very bottom, just because I love the bright yellow, and I just think it looks really cute with the blue. Then I'm going to go back to those leaves. I'm going to take 2 and kind of put them on the bottom of those little yellow flowers, and one going one way and one going the other. And then I'm going to cut the 3rd one into 2 smaller leaves and have them pointing like downward. You'll see here what I'm doing. You see how I'm just cutting a leaf shape out of half of it, and I'll hot glue that down. I'll do the same thing to the other piece. If you are enjoying this video, I hope you will hit that like button to let me know to make more content like this. If you haven't already subscribed, I would love to have you here. I really enjoy your company, and it's such a fun community. We all chat with each other, and I know you will feel so welcome here. And be sure to hit the notification bell so you don't miss a video. So I'm looking at it, it's a little off center, and I'm actually okay with that. I liked it at a diagonal. I'm gonna go back and get some more of those blue flowers. I'm gonna put some more where there's an opening and at the very top where there's a few holes, and that's it. Talk about easy, and it's so cute. You could even put this on a big wreath right in the center. I think there's a lot of options with this one. If you have a small space too, that'll be nice. These ping pong balls, and then I'm going to take the smaller of these wire wreaths that you can get at the Dollar Tree. I've got these roses also from the Dollar Tree, and then I've got my ballet slipper Waverly paint. I'm going to use some masking tape and attach it to my table so that I can stick the little balls on there, the ping pong balls, and I'm just going to start painting in sections with the ballet slipper all over the ping pong balls. I'll dry it with my heat tool, move it around until I get the whole thing painted. So there they are, all painted. I'm going to use my tin snips, which I did get on Amazon, and I'm going to just kind of, I'm not that strong, so I'm just going to keep moving it around until I break through that thing. It's not that hard though. I'm going to use this little pokey tool, and very slowly and carefully, it's sped up a teeny bit. Anyway, I'm going to start making a hole, and I'm going to push it all the way through that to the wider part of the little pokey tool so that I have a nice hole that I can stick the wreath brass piece into. And then I'm going to figure out where I want to put the second hole, because this is how I'm going to string these on. They're going to look like very large wooden beads when I'm done. Now, I should have done this before I painted, because you can see the paint starts kind of chipping when you move it around. So just a little note, if you want to do this, don't paint until you're all done. I did do some touch-ups afterwards to fix it. So there they are, all strung on the brass ring. I'm going to take my Krylon matte finish in clear and go outside and just going to spray the whole thing back and front. And I'm going to take this mop head from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to pull out a couple strands. I'm going to make a hanger first by just attaching the end onto the ring. And then I'll make the loop, and then I will start wrapping this strand of mop head around that remaining brass hoop. And the reason I'm doing that is I need a place to stick my flowers, and they just don't stay really well to the metal. See, I'm making the loop. I'm going to hot glue this down. And then I'm going to just start wrapping around and around until I get to the end of where I have the exposed ring. So there you see, it's all done, and now I've got a hanger. I'm going to pull off those roses right off of the stems, and then I'm going to pull off the greenery. I like to do that because I don't want those big stems, especially on a wreath like this. And I'm going to take my little nippers, and I'm going to cut off the little pieces on the back that stick out so I can lay it flat with hot glue and attach it right to the mop head. And here you can see I'm doing that with the rose. And then I'll just hot glue that right to the center of the greenery. This is so easy. And the hardest thing was just dealing with the ping pong balls, but I'll tell you, if you take it slow and you're gentle, it's not too bad. Now I'm going to finish the rest of that side of the wreath, and look at that. I think this came out beautiful. Super easy. You could add any kind of flowers you want. You could paint the ping pong balls any color. You have to let me know what you think of this one. 23 of the regular size clothespins. And then I've got a wreath ring from the Dollar Tree, a small one, and 2 sets of napkins, one from the Dollar Tree. And then I've got some burlap. What we're going to do is we're going to take the burlap, we're going to wrap it around once on the wreath ring and hot glue it to itself. And then we will just start wrapping around, kind of overlapping until we get around the entire wreath ring. And like I said, this was a smaller one. I think they're like 6 or 8 inches. And then on the back, I'm just going to hot glue the end of it down and trim off any excess. Now I'm going to take one of those metal connectors and do the same thing I did before, thread some jute through the little squiggly parts, hot glue it directly to the back as our hanger. I'm going to trim a little bit of the jute because I had too much, but I will go ahead and hot glue that down. And then I will also hot glue down the remaining jute. That way it's nice and secure. And what a great way to have a hanger. One of my beautiful viewers suggested this. Actually, it was her husband's idea. So I love sharing those ideas. I'm going to take one of the napkins that I had. I'm going to take a little piece of tape and put it on the end. And when you do that, it's so easy to separate the plies. This is a 2-ply napkin. I think this one came from Pop Shelf and I got it when I was out of town. Unfortunately, we don't have one here. I'm going to cut away the part of the napkin that doesn't have a pattern. And then I'm just going to turn over the part that does have a pattern so I see the back side. I'm going to put a generous amount of hot glue on the back of each of those clothespins until I have however many I want in this pattern I'm going to do. So because I've got 2 napkins, I'm going to have 2 different patterns on my napkins. So you can decide what number you want to do. Here's my other napkin, which is from the Dollar Tree, also a 2-ply, and I will separate it the same way and attach the clothespins exactly the same way. Once they dry, I'll turn it over and add another coat of Mod Podge to the top. When that dries, I'm going to cut away the excess paper and then cut between each clothespin so that I just have a clothespin with a little bit of napkin hanging over the edges. Once I got them all cut out, I'm going to take a little sanding sponge, or you could use a nail file, and in a downward motion, I'm going to go around and I'm just going to get a clean edge by going down on the sides and sanding off the excess, and it just leaves such a beautiful edge. I will show you. Look at that, perfectly clean. So I'm going to do that to all the rest of the clothespins. There they are. Now I've got my wreath all ready to start gluing them on. I'm going to start like a clock, and I'm going to pick one clothespin at 12 o'clock, one at 3, one at 6, and one at 9. It always makes it easier to even things out. Now, I'm not going to say that I always even them out perfectly even when I do this, but I'm just telling you it's a great tip to do it. So now I'm going to start working out whatever pattern I decide to do. So there they are. All 23 are on there right now. I attached tea bags. That's what I decided to do. You could put pictures, anything you want. What a fun idea for a wreath. Let me know if you'd like to try this one. The 2023 Farmhouse calendar, and we're going to use the Our Happy Place page. I love this one. It's so pretty. And then we're going to take a pizza pan from the Dollar Tree. We're going to cut out a circle, and then we're going to take some Mod Podge, and we're just going to place it all over the inside of the pizza pan. Once we have that applied, we will take our circular piece of the calendar and we'll place it down and smooth it out. And then I'm going to get my brayer and just go over the whole thing and just really try to get that very flat and securely adhered to the pizza pan. Now, a trick that you can do is use a little spray bottle with water and get your paper wet. I didn't choose to do that, but you absolutely can, and I've heard that it helps with the wrinkles even more. Then I'm going to put some Mod Podge over the top just to seal the whole thing in. I like to do that. That way, no matter what, it will stay in place and it will protect it. I've got a little metal piece from a clothespin and a piece of twine. I'm going to put a little hot glue on the end and kind of like pull it off and make a point. And then I'm going to thread it through the little like spirally part of the clothespin metal piece. We're going to use this as our hanger. This is something that a sweet viewer's husband came up with, and I've been doing it ever since. I think it's such a great idea. I'm just going to put some hot glue, secure it, and once that dries, I would just put the 2 pieces on the other end of the jute and secure it down with some more hot glue. And there we go. We've got a perfect little hanger. I've got these beautiful greenery picks that I get off Amazon. I'm just going to cut them into little pieces using my nippers, and then I'm going to position them all the way around the pizza pan. So basically, this is like turning into a wreath, like you saw in the very beginning. I'm going to use hot glue, and I'm going to make them go all the same direction. That way the little stem pieces hide under the greenery parts. And I will do that until I get all the way around the entire pizza pan. There we go. Now I've got these vendor pics that I don't know if Dollar Tree still has them. I ordered them a long time ago. I got a case of them. I love them. I love these florals. They're so pretty with the purples and the yellows. I'm just going to cut off little pieces, kind of just put them wherever it looks like there's a little gap, just kind of randomly, just whatever I think looks good. You don't have to do this a certain way. Just do it to your own personal taste. Then I've got these other beautiful flowers from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to cut off some little bunches and hot glue them to the top and kind of make a little centerpiece right at the top. This is so easy. You just take some hot glue, kind of stick them in there until they're exactly the way you want. I just kind of play around with them just a little bit, and that's it. This one is done. I think it's gorgeous. It's so perfect for spring. It's getting me in the mood for spring. We've had some pretty cold weather. I think everybody has. Anyway, let me know if you are ready for the nice spring weather.
I've got this beaded round, I don't know if it's like a wreath form or whatever, but it's really pretty. I've got a cool ribbon.
And then I've also got some greenery that I got on Amazon. I'm going to start with a piece of jute, and I'm just going to thread it through the little, there's like a little metal hook at the top there kind of, and I'm just going to wrap it around, tie a knot, and then add another knot at the top, and that will become our hanger. I'm trying to get better at adding my hangers sooner because otherwise I forget, and sometimes it's a pain. I love these greenery pieces. They're so beautiful. I'm going to make kind of like a symmetrical thing. So whatever I do on the left side, I will also do on the right side. And then I've got this beautiful fern from Walmart, and I'm going to add about 4 pieces of that because I just really want to give this some really interesting texture. So there's a variety of things to look at. I'm just using hot glue to attach this. I'm going to take my bow maker, and what I'm going to do is with this ribbon that I have, it's only one-sided, so you always have to twist in the middle when that happens. Otherwise, you won't be able to see the pattern. So I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail and then start on the first post, wrap it around, and when I get to the middle, I'll twist so that it is literally on the pattern side as I wrap it around. I'm going to do that about 6 times because I want this bow to have about 6 different loops. And once I've done that, I'm going to make sure that I leave a piece at the end there, not too big, but just enough because that's going to become our center of the bow. I'm going to get a piece of twine. I'm just going to tie right around the middle while it's still attached to the bow maker. And you can get this bow maker on Amazon, by the way. It's very helpful. I'm not the best bow maker, so with this, it really makes it possible. And you'll see at the end, the bow came out beautiful and it was so easy to do. So now I'm just going to kind of position that twine so that the knot's in the back. I'm going to fluff out the little loops on the bow, which is so pretty. And you can see that because I twisted it, you only see the pretty side of the ribbon. I'm going to trim off that excess jute, and then I'm going to take that piece that was extra, wrap it around the middle, and hot glue it on the back, and that becomes the center of our beautiful bow. And then I'll cut off the excess that I have there. I'm going to make another set of tails. So I'm just going to cut a piece that's a little bit longer than the one that's already hanging down. I'll twist the middle so that you see the pretty side, and then I'm going to hot glue it to the center underneath where the bow is going to go. And this will give me some tails. And now I'm going to hot glue the bow that I made right over the top of that, and look at that. Now I'm going to take the 2 outside pieces that were from that extra tail I made, and I'm going to make a dovetail. I'm going to do the same thing to the one center piece that was there from the beginning. And look how beautiful this came out. I absolutely love it. You will have to let me know what you think. So easy. DIY. I've got this piece that was left over from a sign that just says family. I'm going to use my Craftwise chalkboard paint. Of course, I'm going to use that beaded round and some greenery and flowers. I'm just going to draw like how to round out the letters because I want to cut off that piece around the word family. So if I do this first, then I have kind of a guide to go by when I get my box cutter out and I cut them. And this is such a thin piece of MDF that if you just score it over and over on the lines that you drew, it'll just come right apart. So you just got to go slow and steady. And I'm only going to show you one little piece so you can see how it works. And then any edges that weren't perfect afterwards, I'll take a sanding sponge and I will sand them. Now, I got a little aggressive with the sanding and I broke the word, but I did glue it back together, and I'm going to paint it with that black chalkboard paint on both sides. And you don't really see now where I glued it. I am going to attach it to the center of the bead round with some hot glue. You can use something stronger if you want to. This is going to be very lightweight. I'm going to turn it over and reinforce on the back with some more hot glue just to make sure it stays in place. I'm going to take a piece of jute, put it through those little hooks at the top that are made out of metal, and create a hanger. Now I'm going to take some of the leaves off of this beautiful flower pick, and I'm going to take the flowers, and I'm just going to create kind of like a swag on the left side. So basically whatever I do below, I'll do the same on the top. Hot glue it down. I love the color of these flowers. They are so beautiful. And once I have the flowers on, I'm going to add some leaves because I definitely want some greenery in there. So I'm going to put a couple sprigs of leaves in the center, and then one at the top of the flowers and one at the bottom of the flowers. And then to cover the little pieces of the leaves in the center, I'm going to add one extra little flower. Oh my gosh, I think this is gorgeous. This was very easy, very quick, and I think it's just stunning. Let me know what you think. DIY, of course, I'm going to use this beaded round, and then I've got the 2023 Home Sweet Home calendar, and I'll actually use that page that has what the cover has. And I'm going to use a piece of foam board, some florals from Dollar Tree, and this fern from Walmart. I love using calendar pages when I do things. I'm going to figure out where I need to trace the circle over the calendar page, and I'll just do that with a pencil. And once I have it all traced out, I will cut that out. Now I'm going to place it on top of my foam board and trace it again, because I also want to cut out a piece of foam board to match the size of the calendar picture. I'm going to use my rotary cutter that I use for quilting, and I'm just going to go around. It's just kind of easy to do curves with this one, and I'll just slowly go over it until I get what I need, and then that will be the perfect piece for this to be the calendar page to be sitting on. I'm going to take some Jot glue stick, and I'm just going to start placing it on the foam board, and then little by little I will put the calendar page on. I like to do it in sections and use my brayer to flatten it out. It wasn't flattening that good. I wonder if it's because it's foam board, so I had to push some of it down with my fingers, but I don't mind if it's not perfect. I'm going to use hot glue and go all the way around the edges and attach the round beaded wreath form, and it stays really well. Of course, you can use E6000 or a stronger glue if you want, but again, this is so lightweight, I felt like the hot glue was going to be just fine. And there it is, all glued on. Now I'm going to take this sisal rope that I got from burlapfabric.com, and I just love the color of it. It's really beautiful. And I'm just going to add a hanger at the top. I'm going to put it through those metal hooks that they have at the top of this. Now I'm going to take the flowers, which happen to be very close to the color of the flowers in the calendar picture, and I'm just going to pull off 3 of them, and then I'm going to take the leaves as well. I'll cut off the little piece that sticks out on the back, and I'll start with one in the center, put the first flower on, and then put one on either side and add the flowers right in the middle. I thought this was just a beautiful touch. Then I'm going to cut some pieces of that fern and just add a piece on each side, and I thought that looked so beautiful. I love the variety of the greens. I love the way this looks. And then I'm just going to go around the edges of that foam board. I just didn't like the way it looked. It felt kind of unfinished. I'm going to use that sisal rope again and go all the way around and hot glue it. And literally, that is it. This was very easy. It turned out gorgeous. And this would be pretty on your door, on the wall, wherever you want, or even as a gift. Let me know what you think. I'm going to take another one of those bead rounds. I've got some twine, and I've got this beautiful metal like bell with a flower on it. And so it's almost like a chime. It's got a hole at the top. So I'm going to take my twine, put a little hot glue on the end to make it pointy and stiff, and I'm going to thread it right through that hole. And then I'm going to attach it to those metal rings at the top of the beaded wreath form. And that way I have a place to hang it. And it worked out exactly right where the top of the flower left enough room for the bell to hang, which was was perfect. I was worried it was going to keep hitting the little wood beaded round, but it didn't. So that worked out just great. So I'm going to knot that up, kind of attach it at the top, and then turn the rest of that into a hanger since I've already got the twine right there ready to go. This is probably one of the easiest DIYs I've done in a long time. This took no time at all. So easy. This would even be a fun one to do with the kids or grandkids. I think this would, and it's so beautiful too for being so simple and easy to do. I'm going to take this greenery from Amazon and I'm literally just going to add a piece to each side, kind of tuck it into that twine so you don't see the ends. And then I'm just going to add one more little piece with a couple leaves on it over the twine just to kind of cover that up. And can I just tell you, that is it. This one is done. So easy. It barely took like 10 minutes to make, or less probably, but it turned out really beautiful. You'll have to let me know what you think. And is this something you might want to try? I think anytime you can get something that's so easy to do, comes together so quickly, and it's really beautiful, that it's definitely worth doing. So I don't know about you, but I look for items like this. This Dollar Tree sock hack. I have these adorable socks from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to cut along the edge of one of them. And of course, I've got that wreath form that we're going to use. And I'm going to cut some strips. So that's why I'm cutting the sock open. And then I'm just going to get rid of the curvy parts and start cutting some strips. Now I'm going to use these strips to wrap around the wreath form. But first, let's get our hanger on there because you know me, I forget sometimes. I'm trying to get better with this. I think I am. I hope I am. Anyway, I'm just going to wrap it around like a lark's head knot and then put another knot at the top. And there you go. Trim off the excess and now we have a hanger. Now I'm going to start with the first strip of the sock and I'm just going to hot glue it to itself around the back and start wrapping kind of at an angle around, only overlaps kind of on the edges. That way we don't have to use so many socks to do this. And each time I finish a piece, I'll just turn it over and hot glue it on the back. And then I'll start the next piece going in that same direction on the back, start wrapping it around and just continue doing this until I get to the actual end of the wreath ring. There we are with the last piece. Just going to wrap that one around and secure it in the back. Isn't that already pretty? It's just kind of puffy and spring-like. It's so cute. Anyway, now I'm just going to take these gorgeous flowers I got from Walmart. They have some really pretty ones and their prices aren't too bad either. I'm going to start with a larger flower in the center. I think the larger one actually came from Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to secure a bunch of these leaves all along the left side only. We're just going to do the flowers on half of the wreath. So once I get them snipped, I'm going to glue them on, kind of like the first one will be going upward and then the next one will go down. So it almost creates like a leaf circle kind of. And then I will start putting the little flowers down on the leaves. And I think that's just going to be so pretty. By the way, this is a very easy project and it turns out gorgeous. Now we're just going to put on the very last little flower. And there's a little gap up at the top between the top one. I do end up adding one more flower off camera. I think this is so beautiful. And it came together so quickly. What a fun DIY. What do you think? Dollar Tree contact paper hack. I'm going to take this wooden round from the Dollar Tree, which is super cute just the way it is. But I'm going to use the back side. I'm going to cut off the carrots. We will use the carrots, just not on that part of the sign the way they did it. This way we'll have a two-sided sign. How's that? We won't waste it. I'm also going to remove the hanger for while I'm doing this. And I'm going to sand down any of the rough edges from where those carrots were stapled on. Now I'm going to trace this circle onto the back side of this beautiful orange and white gingham contact paper. I love this one. And then I will cut just enough, to get rid of the large pieces because we can just do our little sanding trick and go around the edges once it's attached. It's so much easier than trying to place something very perfectly. I have trouble with that. So we'll just take off the top part and start carefully removing the bottom and smooth it out, and then just pull it all the way across. And there I go, sanding off the edges to get that nice clean look. And there it is, all ready to go. And there's the other side of the sign if we did want to use it. Now I'm going to poke a hole back where those holes are to get the hanger back in. And you can't see it, so I wanted to do it real quickly, make sure I get that hanger in there, because I love the beads on the twine for a hanger. That is such a cute thing. And if you didn't have one already, they're so easy to make. Now we're going to place our carrots on the bottom. I'm just going to position them where I want and then hot glue them in place. If you didn't have the carrots, they would also be pretty easy to make out of foam board, or if you have a wood laser cutting machine, you could, or possibly find some at the craft store. I've got this placemat, and I'm just going, I think this was from Dollar Tree as well, and I'm just going to cut out the part where it says, enjoy the little things, and I'm just kind of make it a nice little shape to fit on the sign. Couldn't make a perfect circle, so I just kind of rounded the edges of a little bit of a rectangle. And I'm just going to hot glue that right to the center of the sign. I thought that was really cute. And I think that the color in the background kind of complements the greenery on the carrots. So I thought that matched really well. Now I've got this really cute little white greenery. I got this at Walmart. They really have great greenery. If you haven't checked it out, you really should. The prices are really good as well. And I'm just going to put that around where the hole is for the hanger on both sides. Just kind of dress up the top a little bit. And that is all there is to this one. It was so easy. You do have a double-sided sign now. And I just love that contact paper. You'll have to let me know what you think. And if you would want to try something like this. Dollar Tree foam wreath form. We're going to take an old pair of jeans. These were my husband's and I made him give them to me. I know we usually donate them, but I wanted to make a craft. So I'm going to cut off that, hem at the very bottom, and I'm just going to go up the length and start cutting little strips. You can make them as wide as you want. I think mine were probably about an inch or so. And I just cut as many as it would take to get around the whole thing. Now, the next thing I did though was I cut off that seam. I'm just going to tie it around and make a knot. That is it. And then I'm going to pull it forward so the knot's kind of around the outside of the wreath form. I am literally going to do that all the way around. Make sure I'm covering all of the green foam. If you need to cut more once you've done that, because they do shrink up a little bit as you tie them, do what you need to until you get enough to go all the way around. Or if you want, you could do wider strips. Totally your choice. I like the look at the end with the 1-inch strips. Again, personal preference. There's no right or wrong way to do it. If you hear wind chimes, dogs barking, or wind, I am sitting out on a 3-season porch at my sister-in-law's house in North Carolina, so excuse the extra noises, but I wanted to get this video ready. Here I am, just over halfway around. And this is the whole thing. Now, obviously, the ends are way too long, so we're just going to go around and trim them, and you can make them as long as you want. I did have to make some adjustments because, you get around to the other side, and it's longer than you thought it was. I'm going to take these beautiful flowers. These larger ones I got from Amazon, and they're stunning. They're peonies. They're my favorite ones I've ever found so far. Very reasonable price, too. Anyway, I'm going to trim down the leaves and the stems, but I'm going to stop and add that hanger because you know me, I often forget to do it. So I'm just going to do kind of like a lark's head knot to pull it around the wreath form. You won't even notice it because I'll put the flower over it, tie a little knot at the top, trim off the excess, and now we've got our hanger. So now I'm going to put a good amount of hot glue there, and I'm going to add the leaves first. I like to do the pieces separately. That way I know it won't fall off, and then add that flower right in the center. And then I've got this other little bouquet that I think I got at Dollar Tree a long time ago. I'm going to pull off some little pieces with the little flowers. I'm going to put a few on each side. I do like to pull it out. I don't want just the one flower. I do like that look of bunches. And then, of course, I've got this, I think they're eucalyptus from Amazon store, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut some pieces of that off and put them on either side. Honestly, that's all there was to this one. You could add more, you could do less, whatever you like. But I love the look of the jeans. I think it's so, so pretty. Have you guys ever used jeans to craft? Because I've got these jeans, I think I'm going to add a few in here and there, on my channel with some jeans just to show you what you could do, like a trash to treasure. Anyway, I hope you like them. Tree foam round wreath form. I'm going to use these beautiful kind of coastal themed napkins, and then this ribbon I got. Oh my gosh, it was so cheap, 89 cents. It's a lot of ribbon. And then I've got some more, and that was all from Hobby Lobby. They do have great ribbon when they're on sale. It's a great deal. And then I've got sand dollars and a starfish from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to remove the plies on the napkins. So what you do is take a piece of tape on the back, and then it makes it really easy to just pull it apart. And this one is a 3-ply, and this one, it kind of pulled apart when I did the first one. I'm literally just going to cut strips. Again, you could do this any way you want. I did find that strips were a nice, easy way to get the wreath covered, and I'm going to use Mod Podge to get it on there. So I'll put Mod Podge on first, and then do pieces of the napkin, and then add Mod Podge over the top. But I'm going to do the top part after, because otherwise my hands are going to get super sticky and it's going to pull the napkin off. So I'm going to try to keep my hands as dry as possible, wiping them in between, and then use my brush to try to help lay down the napkin. See what I'm doing there? That way I don't have to get my fingers super sticky. You really can't use a brayer on a round piece like this. I like that the green showed through a little because it kind of goes with that beachy color scheme. So this worked out. Otherwise, I would have painted the wreath form white first. There it is, all decoupaged. I've got this blue and white twine. I think I got that at Dollar Tree too. I'm going to do a lark's head knot for a hanger, pull it through, tie a knot at the top, and then just cut off the excess. And that way our knot is done and we don't have to forget about our hanger. I'm going to take this Fix-All adhesive and a combination of hot glue, and I'm going to put the starfish and the sand dollars on there. I just want to put it all on one side. Again, this is personal preference. You could decorate this wreath all the way around if you want, whatever you like. So you know when you buy things like rocks and marbles at Dollar Tree, it comes in this kind of netted plastic stuff? I save it. And you know, come on, all of us crafters, we save everything, right? Well, guess what? I knew I'd use it. And doesn't it look like kind of fish netting? And I just glued it on around the back and put it over the starfish and the sand dollar. And I think that adds the coolest summer coastal look. I love it. Anyway, just a little tip there, something you can do with those plastic netted containers. I'm going to take this ribbon and I'm just going to fold it over a bunch of times, you know, twice as many times as you want loops. That's how you do it. And so whatever you want, I think I did it like 4 times or 3 times. So I'd have 2 or 3 loops on each side. Then I'm going to cut it. Now I'm going to take another piece and I'm going to measure out like a tail size. I'm going to hold it up to my wreath and then hot glue it. And that way I don't have to worry about creating a tail out of my bow. I'm not as good at that. So if I do the tail separately, it just makes my life so much easier. And then I'm going to go and dovetail the ends, just fold them in half and cut a little triangle upward. Now I'm going to take a piece of twine, go right in the center of this, you know, ribbon that I folded in half, tie it really tight, and I'm going to start pulling out the loops. You've got to use wired ribbon for this because you can shape them. If it's not wired ribbon, it doesn't hold its shape as well. So if you do that, I'd recommend smaller, much narrower, smaller ribbon. Anyway, it's starting to look really cute. And just you're going to fuss with this forever. And then I found this ribbon at Hobby Lobby that has little pom-poms on it. I'm going to wrap it around a bunch of times until the pom-poms cover the front. Cut it off, glue it on, and there's the center of my ribbon. I thought it was so pretty, the white to match the starfish and the sand dollar. That's it for this one. You could add more, have less, whatever you want. I think it turned out stunning. Oh my gosh. Even though I put seashells on the side, I could have put them on the wreath. So it's up to you, but I think the colors are gorgeous. Foam round wreath. I've got these ribbons. I don't use them all. I end up only using the plaid one. I've got this amazing box cutter from Amazon. It's ergonomically correct, so it sits in my hand really nicely, and my hand doesn't cramp up when I'm using it. Now I do have to kind of go all the way around because this piece is thicker than the blade, but look how easy that snapped apart. And then I just did the same thing where I wanted to cut it. I'm going to be making a rainbow, although it's not going to be traditional colors of a rainbow. It's going to be this ribbon. So what I'm going to do is go around all of this piece and cover the whole thing with the ribbon. And the way I chose to do it was using one piece at a time so it didn't get all twisted and sideways. I wanted each piece to go around itself. Does that make sense? And if I had to go further around, you'd see how you have to twist it. And that's when I decided how I was going to do it. So I'll just cut it off, attach it, and do the next piece and the next piece and the next piece until I get the entire thing covered. And I chose to use hot glue. Of course, you can use fabric tacky glue, whatever you want, whatever works for you. I just wanted to keep working, and hot glue did the trick. And I tried to make all the seams be underneath or on the back. I'm going to take some twine, and on this one, I'm not going to do a lark's head knot. I'm just going to tie like a little loop, and I'm going to glue that to the back and just kind of make sure it's attached, put some tape over it, and that's it, because this one, I don't want it to show in the front at all. So this is the best way that I found to do that, and just kind of cover it up, and you can't see that from the back other than the little loop. Got some cotton balls, and I'm just going to take them and attach them to both ends and make it look like clouds at the end of each part of the rainbow. I thought this would look really cute in a little kid's room, a nursery, even a teen room. I think that'd be fun. So if you're looking for something to do for your kids or grandkids, what a fun thing. This also would be a fun craft to do with the kids because it's pretty darn easy. So what do you think? I love to throw in some super easy crafts because we don't always have time for the big elaborate crafts, but this one you could do in probably 10 minutes. Let me know. It's that fabric from the Dollar Tree and the bandanas from the Dollar Tree and this star from the Dollar Tree, which was kind of new. I'm going to use my cutting mat and my rotary cutter, and I'm going to cut 2-inch wide strips, and then I'm going to take those strips and I'm going to cut them down to 6 inches. I'm going to take those pieces, I'm going to fold them in half, and I'm going to slide them underneath the edge of the wire on the wreath and push the 2 ends that are cut through and pull it, and that's a lark's head knot. And so I'm doing it slow here so you can see, and then I'm just pulling it tight. Now I'm going to do another one, and I'm going to push the little hoop end underneath the wire, push the cut ends through the middle and pull it through. And that's basically what I'm going to do for all of the little fabric pieces that I cut. So you see, I just did the upper left portion of the star with the blue, which is kind of like on a flag, that would be the stars. And then I used my other 2 fabrics and I did the rest of it. Now I ran out of the gingham, but I had this ribbon that matched, so I used that to fill in. I'm taking my bow maker and I'm going to use this gorgeous ribbon that I got at Hobby Lobby on huge clearance a long time ago. And I'm going to make a 5-inch tail, and then I'm going to start wrapping my loops. Now, one side of this does not have a pattern, so I'm going to twist in the middle every time. And I'm going to make 3 loops on each side by just going around, twisting in the middle, going around. And then at the very end, I will pull another 5-inch tail out on the other side where I didn't already put a tail. And then I will cut that, right at the 5-inch point. With the bow maker, bows are so easy to make. Without them, I'm pretty much lost. I got mine on Amazon for like $10, I want to say. So worth it. Oh my gosh. I'm pretty sure I have it in my Amazon store if you're looking for one as well. So now I'm just finishing up my last loop. Actually, that's the tail, cutting the 5 inches. And now I'm going to stick a piece of jute twine. Now you can use chenille stems, pipe cleaners, whatever you want to call them, or twist ties. A lot of people like, or zip ties, a lot of people like to do that. But I just use jute because I have it really handy and it's so inexpensive. And I just tied it really tight, snip the ends. And now I'm going to take the 2 ends, the 2 tails, and I'm going to fold them on top of each other in half. And then I'm going to cut towards the bow at an angle and make a little dovetail, or some people call them tuxedo tails. Either way is fine. I'm going to fluff my bow, and then I'm going to make another bow, but I'm going to move my little pegs into the number 4, so there'll be 4-inch loops and 4-inch tails, and did the same thing. Now I'm going to tie them both together, the smaller bow on top of the larger one, and use my jute again, tie that really tight. It's so cute. I love it. And then I'm going to take a little piece of that blue bandana, and I'm just going to cut a piece that will fit around the center and hot glue that, and that gives my little bow a nice center. And again, more fluffing. There's no such thing as too much fluffing. You can fluff your bow forever. I just put the jute through the wire in the back, and there I am fluffing again. Here's the second DIY within the first DIY. I'm taking this cute little birdhouse I got at a thrift store. I'm using the Amy Howard at home one-step paint. Love the way it looks. And then I'm going to take my steel from Waverly, and I'm just super lightly going to dry brush around the edges and then on the sides and stuff. And basically I just put a drop on my brush, wiped it off on that little towel, and then dragged it across the little birdhouse. Now I've got a red marker, and I'm just going to write the word USA. And then I'm going to take a blue marker, and these are jot markers from the Dollar Tree, and put some little stars on it. And then I'm going to put a coat of polyurethane over the whole thing. I'm going to take another cute little red, white, and blue bow. I think that one's from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to tie a knot and then just cut the ends at an angle and tack down the ends with some hot glue. I'm going to take that wiry looking thing. I'm going to stick it through the wreath and then put some jute through it and attach it so it sits very firmly on the back of the wreath. And these will work as hangers. I'm loving this. I hope you guys like it. It's so cute. My husband already wants it. Oh, well, it's so much fun to make. Foam board hack. I'm going to take this wooden circle and just trace it onto this black foam board. They have the foam board in black and white at Dollar Tree. I'm going to take a blade and I'm just going to cut out that circle. Make sure that your blade is very sharp and new. Mine was not doing a great job. I ended up switching to a different blade just to finish it off. Then I've got these dowels or skewer sticks that you can get from the Dollar Tree and many other craft stores. People use them for like barbecuing shish kebabs, that kind of thing. And I'm going to create a kind of a boho design. I saw something on Pinterest that inspired me. So I'm just going to mark where I want to cut each one based on the shapes, and kind of like I'm doing some shorter, some longer. You could actually do any design that you want. This is just kind of what I went with. This is totally up to you. I'm going to take my miter shears that I got on Amazon. It's a wonderful tool, especially if you have arthritis and it's hard to squeeze. This actually cuts very easily. Another one, you have to keep that blade nice and sharp by changing it out. I'm going to start in the middle of the design. I have them laid out to the left there, and I'm going to start in the center and just kind of start putting them together on either side. That way I won't lose track of what I'm doing. And I wasn't going for a perfection, of course. I'm just going for an abstract design, which is, the kind of thing you see in a lot of boho projects, either the very natural, earthy, or something like this. So there it is, and I think it's really an interesting look. Then I'm going to put a hanger on the back. I'm just marking the spot. I'm going to use the metal piece from the clothespin and, of course, hot glue and masking tape to secure it like I usually do. Sometimes I do twine, sometimes I do this. Just, I guess, whatever I think of at that moment. But either one is a great way. And I've also been suggested to use pop-top cans. So there's another idea for you. I'm going to put Mod Podge over this entire thing, including the skewers. Now I'm going to take some twine and I'm just going to put it all the way around. I think I'm going to do about 3 times around just to cover the edge and make it look finished and nice. I had a little gap there, so I did add one more. That was the third, all the way around just to finish it off. And I think it came out beautiful. I love the look. It's not the way I decorated my house, but I do think that it's very, very nice looking. I've got a succulent from the Dollar Tree, and then of course I've got this reindeer moss that I got at Walmart. I'm going to hot glue some moss on, kind of in a circular shape, if you will. It's not a perfect circle because it's moss after all, and it just sticks out. And then I'll also attach with a lot of hot glue the succulent right to the center, and I thought that really finished it off and made it look beautiful. And I love that look, and I'm not good with plants, so anything I can do that the plant won't die, in other words faux plants, well, that works just fine for me. Let me know what you think. We're going to take a piece of the foam core board and this round wooden sign from the Dollar Tree, which I'm just going to use to get my circle shape. And I'll cut that out with my rotary cutter. I'm going to put a piece of tape, not quite in the middle, because I want to section it off, and I'm going to use my Waverly Ocean colored paint. It's a beautiful blue. And I'm going to paint down away from the tape and then just paint the rest of that whole bottom piece. Took about 2 coats. And the best part, taking the tape off. Look at that. Who doesn't love that? Now I've got this removable wallpaper from Amazon, and there's a link to my Amazon store down in the description box where you'll find most of my favorite things that I get there, in case you need them too. And I'm just going to pull the backing off a little bit on one end, fold it under, and then take the sticky part and line it up, and then slowly pull underneath to remove the backing. And then I'll get my brayer and I'll start smoothing it out, and that way there won't be any bubbles or wrinkles, and this really makes it nice and easy. You just do a little bit at a time. I saw this beautiful welcome sign on Pinterest, and I thought I could do something very similar by using the foam core board. Now there's excess going around on purpose, and I'm just going to cut little snips and then fold them over the back, because that's the best way to do it without getting weird little points.
I watch you as you
And then I had this coastal twine from the Dollar Tree. It's like white and twine colored. And I just wrapped it around several times where the blue meets the wallpaper and up at the top. And I've got this metal welcome sign from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to put my Aleene's Tacky Glue on the back. And then I'm going to set that over the blue portion. And I love the way that just pops. I am going to wipe off all that excess glue. It does dry clear, but I don't want it to dull the shine on the welcome sign. And then I've got some beautiful florals from the Dollar Tree, and I just took some blue ones and yellow ones and the leaves that go with them, and I cut off the little ends and I hot glued them together and then positioned them just the way I want. You could do this any way that you want, whatever you like.
But smile, do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on, I put my feet up.
You could get several signs out of one piece of the foam core board. So you actually can beat the Dollar Tree price by making, let's say, 3 signs out of one. So that's only $1.25 instead of buying 3 wooden rounds. So that's a great way to save money and get more out of it.
Favorite song on, I put my feet up, and we just sing along, and I can't help but feeling.
And when I wrapped that twine around, I left a little bit in the back to make a hanger, and that's it. I hope you guys like this one. Let me know.
Just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time.
Welcome or welcome back. We're going to use Dollar Tree yarn today. I'm so excited. I've got 3 different colors of the yarn, a bamboo hoop, and some rope that I got from Walmart. I'm going to use my hot glue, and I am going to wrap it around all the way around this loop. It takes a little while, but it is so cute when it's done. Then I'm going to make a bunch of tassels. So I'm going to take a wide part of my hand. I'm going to wrap around. I think I did 30 times on these. You can do it as thick as you want, as many as you want. And I pull it off and I cut off the end, and then I take a little piece of the same yarn and I'm just going to lay it right on top, and I'm going to tie the very top portion off. So it almost looks like it's just got a little head and then a body on it. I'm going to tie that in a full knot, and then I'm just going to trim the loops open. And then I'll give the whole tassel like a little haircut to make sure it's nice and even. For this particular project, I'm going to do all 3 colors yarn, and I'm going to do 7 tassels each. And I'm going to use that same part of my hand so they come out roughly the same size. There they all are. And it doesn't take that long to do them. I can just be watching something. And now I'm going to cut some of that rope, and I'm just going to cut various pieces that I want to put through the loops. And I'm going to put a knot at the top, and I'm going to use that to tie it to that bamboo ring. We're going to make kind of like a wall hanging. It's very boho looking, and we're just going to attach each of these. There's going to be layers. First is the purple, then the green, and then the white. So I'll use different lengths of rope to make sure that they hang right. And I always kind of dry fit it first by just putting it on and pulling them down to where I want. So I'm going to hot glue this rope, and it's okay if there's extra pieces hanging off. We're going to take care of that at the very end. So the main thing now is to get them attached and hanging exactly at the length that you want. Now what I want it to do is kind of curve around, so the middle tassel will always be longer than the ones going up around the side of it, and that'll be the same for all 3 rows. And if that doesn't make sense, you will see that here in just a moment. So there they are, all attached. You see how I've got them kind of curved, each layer. And I'm going to show you the back. See all that rope? Now I'm just going to make sure that all that rope is glued in the back. I'm going to put a bunch of hot glue, and then I'm going to put this coaster that I got from IKEA. I thought it was so pretty. That wood is beautiful. I'm going to put that in the center. And then I've got this piece of like a burlap, kind of a ribbon. It's very thick. I cut it to size, and I'm going to cover all those ugly ends on the back. That way you won't see them, and it will just look really, really pretty. So that is what I did. I added a hanger at the top. I just did a lark's head knot where you put the loop on it, pull the 2 pieces through, and then tie a knot at the top. I think this looks so cool. It reminds me a little bit of like, not just Boho, but Southwest a little bit. Like if you were in New Mexico, you might see something like this, or Arizona. You'll have to let me know what you think. Feel free to slow down or pause the video if you need to look at any part, slowly. Would you try this?
napkin hack. I've got these gorgeous napkins with the like shiplap background and the leaves, and then I've got this cool rake, like the head of a rake, and I can't remember if I got that at Walmart or at Dollar Tree. It's been a while. I got it last year. Anyway, I'm just going to paint the bottom portion of this rake with my white paint, and it's just to cover the orange background because I want to decoupage that napkin on there, and I will just get full of orange if I don't do that. I'm going to put the masking tape on the back and pull apart the ply, and then I'm just going to cut out a piece that's about the right size and lay down some Mod Podge, and of course I've let the paint dry at this point. I'm going to start with the top section. I think it'll be easier to work in sections because there's all those little lifted up or risen up pieces on there that make it difficult. So I want to be able to press in between each of those sections carefully and make sure that I don't rip the napkin. So I'm going very slow, and I'm just going to, gently push on them, and you can see how I'm doing that right here. Once I've done that, I'm going to do the very bottom and do the exact same thing and make sure that it's sitting as nice and flat as I can. I thought this napkin was perfect for a rake because of all the leaves on it. I just thought that was super, super cute. Now we're going to turn this into kind of like a door hanging or just a hanger, that looks like a wreath, but with a rake. And I thought that would be really fun and easy to do. So while it's wet, I think I'm going to try ripping the edges. Now, it mostly works as long as I have a finger on each side, but of course it's sticky, and so everything's sticking to me. So I got off as much as I could, and once it dries, then I'm going to go back over it with a little bit of sandpaper and just kind of get off those little edges. And I also covered the whole thing in Mod Podge, of course. So now you can see where the edges aren't perfect. So I'm going to take that little bit of sandpaper and super, super gently go over that, and then I'll add some more Mod Podge there in case anything lifted. Just got to be careful with edges like that. These are a little different than something flat. While I can, before I add the flowers, I'm just going to add a hanger on the back with a little bit of rope. I'm just going to do a lark's head knot and then tie a knot at the top so we've got a nice hanger that comes from behind. I will go ahead and cut off the excess as well. So now I've got different types of leaves. I've got these beautiful sparkly kind of lighter leaves, and then I've got some that are like the deeper kind of orangey red with yellow. So what I'm going to do is first put on a bunch of those lighter leaves, and then intermittently here and there just add the other leaves for color. Because, you've got leaves blowing from all different trees produce different colored leaves. And then, of course, it depends the time of year, exactly when they fall off, what color they are. So I wanted it to look like an assortment that we raked up that got onto this rake. Then I'm going to add some white sunflowers just for color. I thought that would be really pretty, just to kind of give it a little bit of a difference. So I added 3 of the white flowers. And now I'm going to add a few more leaves here, just kind of falling down to fill in the gaps under those white sunflowers. Now you could use any color sunflowers you want. I just decided to go with the white because it would be a little bit different, and there's a lot of color in those other leaves, so I thought that was going to be plenty. I think this is so pretty. I love how easy this was too. And if you could do this with one of your own rakes that breaks or something. If you ever have a broken rake, just make a wreath out of it. I think it's beautiful, and I can't wait to put it up on my door. You'll have to let me know what you think. I'm going to use 5 different scarves from the Dollar Tree, and I picked ones that were kind of spring, summer colors. Lots of blues, pinks, turquoise, that kind of stuff, and they're so pretty. You guys, I can't believe, look at this one with the butterflies. Anyway, I'm going to take out my square, and I'm going to hold the scarf long ways, and I'm going to measure 10 inches, and I'm just going to cut each one of these scarves till I get however many pieces I can out of this that are each 10 inches long. And there was pretty much 6 for each scarf, more or less. One was a little shorter. And then I'm just going to take each piece in, and there's 3 sections in this little 8-inch wreath form from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to start with the 2 inner rows or circles. And I'm going to do one at the beginning of each section of those 3 sections, and then I'll take the next one. So I started on the outer 2 rows, and then I'm going to go alternating to the 2 inner circles. So if it was like 1, 2, 3, and you were counting from the out going in, I'd start with 1 and 2, and then I'd go around and do that in each section, and then I'd go to the one that is 2 and 3, and I just do that all the way around until I fill up the wreath. And if I have any left, I'll just kind of look and see if there's any gaps and just stick them in there. And it's just such a pretty scarf wreath. It's like a rag wreath type thing. And then I'm going to fluff it. I'm going to keep doing that. And I'm not going to tie like a double knot, just a single knot, because they stay right in place. Now you could leave it just like this.
But I decided first I'm going to turn it over and take a little piece of twine and just make a hanger, attach it to the wreath frame. And then I've got this round piece of wood, and you could use anything. You could use a sign that's already done, but I decided I'm going to take that blue and white nautical twine or coastal twine, and I'm just going to glue it on the back and just start rolling it around. And I didn't even need glue until the very end. But you could kind of do this in any design you want. You could start in the middle and go like spirally around. I just decided to do it around the entire thing. So yeah, I probably used too much of the twine, but I was okay with that. And so you can see what it's looking like. When I'm done, I'll cut the end and then I'll just tie it to the back side to another piece of the twine. Then I'm going to attach 4 little pieces of twine. Like picture if that round piece of wood was a clock. So I'll do 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. And I'm going to tie a piece, maybe about 4 inches of twine to it. And that's how we're going to attach this to the wreath frame. So once I get all 4 of those pieces on, I'm going to hold them to the center on the back, push them through, turn the whole wreath over, and then pull them out and tie them to 4 different places on the wreath form at those same kind of clock points so that it attaches. I hope this makes sense the way I'm describing it, but you also can see it. So I think this will make sense too. It was the best way for me to come up to attach it. I didn't really want to glue it. So I'm just going to fluff it, and that's it. Super easy. Let me know what you think.
Beautiful gold beveled kind of frame. It's an 8x10 from the Dollar Tree. That was so beautiful. It looks like they're kind of trying to sell it as maybe for a wedding photo, but I really love the way it's kind of etched a little bit on the frame itself. We're going to take that apart and just pull up the tabs and pull out the inside. This one was a little tough. I had to use a little spatula to pry them open. Otherwise, sometimes you can really hurt your fingers with those things. We're not going to use the glass or the paper or the backing on this one. Actually, we're just going to take all those pieces out. We'll save them, see if we need it for another project. I'm going to turn the frame over, and I've got this gold handle, like a ribbon handle from a gift bag I had used. I've got a bunch of these in my stash, and I'm just going to hot glue it on the back and make a hanger with this. I thought this would look really pretty with the gold frame. I'm just going to tack that down a little extra to make sure it stays in place. Now I'm going to take a bunch of different kind of spring looking greenery pieces, and you could make this honestly for any season. And hot glue is easy to pull apart if you just heat it up. So you could change this out for the different seasons. This is going to be kind of more spring-like. I'm just going to add a bunch of different leaves at different heights on stems. This is just a bag of little pieces that I keep when I use my greenery, and then I don't use pieces up. I just try to save them. And then I use them to embellish things like this. So I'm trying to get my bigger pieces for this one and then add some, down the middle. You'll see what I'm doing, just kind of putting them wherever I want, just to create a really pretty kind of garden look, like these flowers are growing. And then I've got to tack them down because some of them just didn't want to stay. And now I'm going to add some beautiful flowers, just these, again, left over in my stash, little pieces. I'm just going to add them all around and make it look like almost like it's a little garden in the picture frame. And I thought that would just be so beautiful. I had this in my mind that this would turn out just refreshing and pretty. And I am so happy I went ahead and tried it because I think my vision is coming to life. Do you ever have that where you kind of envision something? Sometimes it doesn't work out. Let me tell you, many times it doesn't work out, but this one actually did. I'm really happy with how it turned out. You can use any floral you want, or you could just do a little bit of florals, like little teeny ones, and you just keep the greenery. It's for the most part. Honestly, whatever your preference is, there's no right way to do this. It's all about what you think looks good. So, in the comments, you can say, I would do this, I would do that. And I love to hear that. But just so you know, this is what I would do, and I wouldn't change it. I love the way it is, but I would love to hear what you would do with it, all the cute ideas you guys have for this. And that's it. That was how easy that was. Didn't that turn out really, really pretty? I am so happy with it. I think whenever I look at it, I'll feel like I've got flowers growing in the house. Let me know what you think. Two different kinds of twine from the Dollar Tree. One is just your standard basic jute twine, and the other one is a twine that's mixed with like a beige and the regular twine color. And then I've got this Easter egg wreath form, also from the Dollar Tree.
I'm going to start off with the plain jute twine, and I'm going to start gluing it to the back side of the egg, and then I'm going to wrap it around the entire thing. Yes, this does take a little bit of time, but you know what? I like to do Audible books or I watch videos while I'm doing this. So I'm always doing something else while I'm doing the part that takes longer or is a little bit tedious. And that way I don't even waste my time. I actually get two things done at once, which I love. So there it is, about halfway done, just so you can see what it's going to look like. And there it is, finished. And then I'm just going to cut off the last little piece there and glue it to the back. That'll be the end of the regular jute. Now I'm going to take the other jute that was the mixed colors, and I'm just going to kind of wrap it around, you know, like maybe 3/4 of an inch or so between each wrap. I mean, that doesn't matter. You can pick whatever, or maybe it's less than that, but whatever width you want. I just wanted to do it as an accent, and that just makes it look a little more fun and interesting, in my opinion. And there it is. I'm just going to cut off an end and glue it to the back so I can finish that piece off.
Standing underneath the lights, look into each other's eyes.
Now I'm going to turn it over to the back and cut a thicker piece of jute. And this one actually is from Walmart. It's my favorite place to get this thicker one. It's such a good deal. And I'm just going to put a hanger on with that. And then I'm going to use hot glue and masking tape to secure it. And that'll be the perfect hanger for this cute little Easter egg. And I guess we can call it a wreath at this point, or it's, you know, a hanger, if you will. I'm going to take this mesh ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I also have this other beautiful ribbon that I got. I believe it was from Walmart, and I'm just going to cut a few pieces and make a messy bow by crisscrossing them. And so first thing I'm going to do is just crisscross those first mesh pieces and tie a piece of jute around them.
Snowflakes are coming down, collapse into water when they hit the ground.
And then I'm going to tie that around kind of on the bottom right side of the wreath. And that'll be kind of the background for our bow.
Empty streets. Yesterday has gone to sleep.
Then I'm going to make an awareness bow with the other beautiful ribbon. Just kind of pull it around and then cinch the middle. And I'm going to go ahead and tie that also with some of the jute twine.
So all that's left is you and me. I can promise you're the only.
And then I'll move it around before I make it too tight and make sure that's right in the center. I'm going to go ahead and cut the ends, and I am also going to dovetail them. And you just fold that in half and then cut from the very bottom corner up towards the top, and that'll give you a triangle.
Hold my hand and hear the words I say. Close your eyes and let us.
Then I've got this cute little bunny ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to cut a couple pieces here, and we're going to add them in like tails. So I thought that would look really, really cute. Just kind of hot glue them under the other ribbon. And that also adds a little pop of color, which I wanted. I'm going to take the ends and I'm going to dovetail those as well.
Build a secret place for you and me.
I've also got this cute little kind of pom-pom ribbon. I got this on clearance at Hobby Lobby. It was such a good deal. So I had to grab it. And I'm just going to cut a couple pieces of those. And I'm also going to add those underneath. And that turns it into a little bit more of a tail as well.
Caught up in a dream.
I've got this large pom-pom from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to put that right in the middle of the bow. Then I'm going to take a bunch of greenery I have left over, and I'm just going to start adding it into the back side of the bow and just, you know, kind of put it wherever I think it needs it. I love doing that with all the little pieces of greenery that I have left over when I use the larger pieces. And then I've got all these little teeny ones, and I just save them. And when I need to embellish something like this, I just open that bag up, and there they are. And that's it for this one. I think it came out gorgeous. I wanted to keep it pretty simple. I think it's just beautiful the way it is. You could always add more to it. Let me know what you think. Beautiful twine that's a combination of a very light blue or teal color with the regular jute color. And then I've got a hoop I got on Amazon, like an embroidery hoop. And then I've got these 3 bunnies that came off of a Dollar Tree sign, and I saved them. Now what I'm going to do is take the twine, glue it on, and I'm going to start wrapping around the center there and just make a nice little section. It's about,
I don't know, a couple inches wide at least. So you can make this as wide as you want or as narrow as you want. Honestly, this is up to you. I was looking for a place to put the little bunnies and glue them and just kind of add some interest. So now I realized it was hanging a little bit too much to the bottom. So I went ahead and secured that, and then I added some more to the top side. And now I think it looks a lot better. So I've got the 3 bunnies. I'm just going to use hot glue, and I'm going to attach it right to that twine that I had wrapped around the embroidery hoop. I love the colors on these bunnies. I think they're so pretty. And they already had the cute little pom-pom tails, so that was great. I've got these teeny tiny little pom-poms I ordered on Amazon, and I'm going to get 2 for each bunny that matches the color of the bunny and just cover up that hole because we don't need that hole. And it'll just look like kind of the inside of the bunny's ear, which I thought was adorable.
Standing underneath the lights.
Got this wire jute cord, and I'm going to take it and we're going to make a hanger with it. So I'm just going to secure it to the back of the hoop by kind of bending it and giving it a place to stick with the hot glue. I'll do the same thing on the other side.
Look into each other's eyes.
And then I'm just going to add some more glue over the top. Now I'm going to take some greenery and I'm just going to start embellishing kind of around the bunnies and just add a little bit of that, you know, kind of fun, nice spring look, Easter look. And I just think that's so pretty. And make sure they're tacked down so they're not sticking straight out. And I didn't want to go too overboard with this, so I just wanted to add a little bit here and there. And then we're just going to add a couple of little teeny pieces between the bunnies.
I hear the sound of empty streets.
I've got this green mesh ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and then also like a rickrack ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and then another beautiful, very sheer ribbon. And I'm going to make a messy bow with these. So I'm just going to cut pieces, and then I'm going to crisscross them. We're going to tie around the middle and cinch it, and then kind of fluff the bow and turn it into this just adorable little messy bow. If you are bow challenged, this is the easiest kind of a bow you could ever make.
So all that's left is you and me. I can promise.
So I dovetailed the ends, and I'm just going to stack them with the pink sheer on the bottom, then the green mesh ribbon, and then the blue rickrack. I'm going to take an extra piece of the rickrack, and I'm just going to tie it all the way around the center and cinch that bow, and then tie my knot on the back.
Hold my hand and hear the words I say. Close your eyes and let us fade away.
I'm just going to take what's left of that rickrack I tied around, pull it through the little screw thing at the top of the embroidery hoop, and I'm going to tie it on and then add a little hot glue on the back to secure it. And that is it for this one. I think it's so adorable. I love it, and it was very easy to make. Put it together very quickly. I bet you could do this with kids and grandkids. Let me know what you think.
Form from the Dollar Tree, the one that has the 4 rings around it. Just ignore that other ring in the background. I wasn't sure what I was going to use at that point. And then this rug I got from Five Below for $5, and it's all denim jeans cut up and woven into a rug. Oh my gosh, what a great deal. I just cut the black threads and pulled out the strands, and then I got out my square and I measured 6 inches. I decided that would be the right length for each piece, and I started cutting, and I cut them all, and I actually had to peel some more off because it was really hard to know how many I really needed, and I never did count them, but I didn't use anywhere near the whole rug, not even close. Because I only made them 6 inches, I didn't want to tie them. Denim is so thick. So I kind of twisted it around and put hot glue in between. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one around the end 2 circles, the middle 2 circles, and then the inner 2 circles, and I'm going to alternate back and forth, and that will fill in everything, and it really, really makes it nice and thick. And it's time consuming, just put on some music or a video, and there I am, not quite halfway done. The back looks woven the way I'm doing it. This is called a rag wreath. And then there I am completely done, and I'm loving it. It's so thick and full, and oh, I love all the different colors of denim and different threads. So cute. Got the sign at the Dollar Tree. It says God Bless America, and it's got the cute little red truck with the flag in the back. And what I'm going to do is take some jute twine. I'm going to put it around each side of the top piece there, and I'm going to kind of hide it in between the little jean rag rug ties, and I'm going to put it around the back and tie it, and that will attach it at the top. And once I get that attached, I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom and just go through that little chain that's holding the truck on and attach that around the back. And you won't really see those. They're just really nice and secure. And I just kind of pull that God Bless America sign up a little so the denim isn't covering it. There I am putting the jute into that hanger so I can get that attached as well. And I'm going to cut off the excess. And I really think that this wreath needs a bow. And so I'm going to take a bunch of different ribbons, and I'm going to make those, you know where you fold a ribbon so it looks like an awareness ribbon, and then you bring the center down? Well, that's what I'm going to do, because that's a ribbon I know how to make. And I'm going to use some jute just to tie around the center, and I'm going to do that with several different types of ribbon, and then make each one a little smaller than the one before it. And then I will use a chenille stem and attach them all together in the center. And when I get them all put together, I think I'm going to do 4 different kinds of ribbon here. Some patriotic and then the one burlap. Then I'm going to use a really pretty little burlap lace type of a ribbon to wrap around the center. I'm also going to take 2 really thin type of ribbons. I'm just going to create tails with those, so that way I don't have to do more ribbon if there's enough as it is right now. And now I've got the chenille stem and I'm attaching them all together. And then like I said, I'll add those other little ribbons to make more tails. And then I'll take another stem and I'll attach it to the entire wreath, and that will be it. Oh, I will dovetail the ends and make sure that they look nice and tidy.
And of course, you've got to fluff the bow, so I'm doing that right now, but I'm going to have to do it again anyway once I attach it to the wreath. I just wanted to see what it was going to look like before I added those little extra tails on. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think it's interesting, and it's got nice color, and I think it looks really great with this wreath. You guys will have to tell me what you think. I absolutely love this wreath. It's got to be my favorite, really. It's so cute, and I'm definitely keeping this one. I've already had people say they want it, but I'm keeping this one. And here I am attaching it to the wreath with the chenille stem, poking it through to the back and then twisting it real tight. Form from Dollar Tree. I've got some of the buffalo check mesh from Dollar Tree. I had this cute little paint set of a little Happy Harvest truck with pumpkins and stuff in it, and then I'm using also some ties, and I don't think I got those at Dollar Tree because we had those in our toolkit. And what I'm doing is I'm taking the mesh and I'm attaching it about every 4 squares. I'm counting, making a loop, and then sticking in the tie. And then I'm pulling another 4 squares, making a loop, and sticking in the tie. And I'm gonna do that all the way around the wreath. You could do this with any size wreath. You could even separate the wreath parts and do it with just one. I didn't do that. I probably should have, but I wasn't thinking of that until now. But anyway, you'll just keep going until you get all the way around. Don't worry about cutting off the ties until you're finished. And that's what I'm gonna do right now. Using a little cutter, and then I'm just going to go through and right at the point of where they're tightened is where I take them off. There it is. And then I'm going to go ahead and paint the little truck. I'm going to remove the base first though, because I don't need it for this. And I'm going to use a couple of paints that I already have. I'm going to use some that came with it, and I'm just going to paint it kind of any way I want. I'm going to, add a little bit of character to it. I'm going to sand off the glitter on the Happy Harvest part, and I'm just going to let you watch. I'm just going to kind of go at it and paint it. And you could do that any colors that you want. This is your truck. You get to do what you want. Now that the sign is painted, I am going to attach some twine to it, and then I used a little spare piece of wood that I had to make sure it would stay. And I'm going to also put some Mod Podge on the front to seal it, which I almost forgot to do. So then I'm going to suspend it in the back by attaching it to the wreath form. And then I'm also going to get some more twine, and I'm going to do it going up and down, because I want to make sure that it kind of floats in the middle of the wreath when you're looking at it from the front. And I'm going to use one of the little tumbling tower blocks to make sure that that one's on. It also adds a little weight, which helps it stand up better. And then I tie it all together, and that really supports it and kind of suspends it into the middle. And of course, that just wasn't enough. I felt like it needed more. So I got out some of my buffalo check ribbon, and I decided to crisscross it behind the twine so that you would see it from the front with a little bit of twine over it. And I really love the way that turned out. And I just hot glued it. And you'd think I'd be done at that point, but no, I still thought it needed more. So I got my buffalo check ribbon out again, and I decided to kind of lay it over every 3 of the 4 square loops. So then I hot glued it against the wreath form, and then made a loop over the other loop, and as you can see, going all the way around. I decided it needed just one more thing. So I got out my nautical rope, and I made a bow, and I put a little teeny piece of the buffalo check ribbon, wrapped it around the center of the bow, and then I kind of frayed the edges a little, added a little hot glue so that maybe it wouldn't fall apart, and I just went ahead and hot glued that to the top center. And now I'm absolutely in love with this wreath. Oh my gosh, it is so cute. I don't think I've ever seen one quite like it, and I'm glad that I kept adding things because I really, really think it turned out great. I am so in love with this wreath. Oh my gosh, I love everything about it. Oh my gosh, it was so fun to paint, so inexpensive. I mean, this thing probably cost $5, maybe $6 at the most, and you know how expensive wreaths are. And I think anyone could do this. You just have to, you know, either follow the instructions or add your own creativity, whatever you think. I just love it. And I form, I think it's the largest one they have, and I've got some flowers from Dollar Tree as well as some floral tape. And I'm using my little wire cutters to cut off a couple of the circles. I think there were 4 circles on this wreath, and I only wanted 2 for this particular wreath. I love these wreath forms because you can make up to 4, I think, wreaths out of them if you only used a single circle. And then I'm going to take some rope that I believe I got from Walmart, and I'm going to just start wrapping it around. I'll use the hot glue to fix it to the first starting point. Then I'm going to kind of, not tightly, but just in little loops, go around and around and around until the whole entire wreath is filled up with the rope. And it's going to create a really pretty design, and not like just little lines going around, but more of a loopy kind of a look. And it just kind of makes it feel more full, and you can see what I'm doing. I'm just kind of, you know, going around, and then as I go around each time, I put the rope next to the rope that's already there, and that way you create this look. And I really, really like it. It takes a little bit longer, or maybe it takes the same. It just feels like it takes longer. And, you know, I'm going to speed this up, of course, so you don't have to watch the whole process. But I do like texture. If you watch my videos, if you know me, I try to add texture to everything. It just kind of makes it more visually interesting. And I'd like to mention, if you like my videos, if you enjoy watching these, definitely hit that like button. And now it's time for me to just glue that last little piece down now that it's over, and I'll just cut off the end. And now you can see the kind of pattern that it shows you. It's a little more visually appealing, I think. I really liked it. I love that you can wrap your wreath any way you want, and that's the beauty of doing these kind of crafts. You get to add your own flair. And now I'm just going to take the flowers that I got from Dollar Tree. I'm going to cut them off of the pick so I can place them how I'd like. I've also got some off-white berries. And what I'm going to do is just a side wreath. So I'm only going to put the greenery and the flowers and so forth on the side. We will be on the left side visually when it's hanging up. So I'm figuring out what I want going upward and what I want going downward. And that's what I'm arranging right now. Another thing is that you don't have to make everything symmetrical unless that's what you want to do. And again, this all comes down to your style and your taste and what looks good in your home or what just feels good creatively. I tend to process things as I go. I don't always have a plan. I just like the colors and I start playing with it. So you'll see me start off with things and then add other things. And I may not know what all my supplies are going to be when I first start because I like to flow in the creativity, and that's just the way I work best. Now that I decided what I want to be together on each side of that wreath, I'm using the floral tape to put those pieces together around the stem. It'll just make it a little bit easier to attach. And this isn't the kind of wreath where I'm going to shove that much on the inside, so that's another reason I wanted to use the floral tape. If it was a grapevine wreath, this would be different. I'd just be stuffing everything inside of the grapevine, and this one's just a little bit different than that. Anytime you have a narrower wreath, then you have to kind of camouflage some of those extra stems and find a way to make that look visually appealing. So now I have attached one side, and I did put a little bit into the rope, but not a lot will fit, and so I'm trying to get as much as I can so that you can't see it. Here it is placed, one above, one below, and I'm going to start working on a bow, and I found this really cool burlap ribbon with some lace going down the middle at Dollar Tree. So I bought some, and I'm going to cut some sections because I want to have a bunch of different loops, and I'm going to end up tying it around the middle, but it didn't really bunch up nice, so I kind of cut the middle like with little V's like that, and then I tied the rope around. It's actually just twine, and then I could turn it over and then arrange those little bows. I can just kind of, there's wire in there so I can kind of move them around, and that's how that looks. I also cut a tail so that that would hang down and just cut the edges. And I did decide to tie that through the center around the wreath. And here's the finished product. I actually have it hanging over a project I did a couple months ago where I put a bunch of picture frames together and made a wall hanging of a mirror. It looks kind of like a window, and I'll put the link to that video in the description below. And just a couple different angles so you can see how it looks from the side as you're coming up to it. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. I love the color. I love it's sort of subtle. It's not overpowering, but it's got fall in it, and it's just really, really sweet. Wreath for her door. A lot of the people in her building have them, so I know she likes blingy things, so I took this kind of basket wreath form from the Dollar Tree. I used my rose gold paint from Folklore, and I just started painting it. Now I wasn't going for like 100% full coverage, but I wanted to get quite a bit on there both sides. And then I have this gift bag from the Dollar Tree, so pretty, and it says Noel. I'm going to cut out the one side, and then I'm going to grab a planter from the Dollar Tree and measure a circle so that I have at least a starting of a shape that would work. And I'm going to cut it out, and then I'm going to see how that would fit like in the wreath, because I want to be able to switch out seasonal type little signs in there and then just have the floral and everything for whenever. And I used some skewers to create a backing that would allow the sign to stay in there and not fall out, but still be removable, and that works out just fine. I did do a little extra trimming, and then I found these gorgeous kind of glam Christmassy or just glam flowers in general. I'm going to cut them up into individual pieces so that I can place them exactly where I want. The nice thing is they stuck right in there in that basket weave of the wreath form, and all I had to do was trim any pieces that stuck out of the bottom like the stems, and I was able to, make a variety of florals together on one side, and then I'm going to kind of repeat that on the other side so that it has a similar look, and it will go up about to the halfway point around the wreath when you're looking at it, from a horizontal standpoint. Now I don't actually hot glue the flowers down all the way, just a couple little pieces that were sticking up in ways that I didn't want them to, and I want them to lay nice and not flat, but just in a sort of symmetry way on the wreath, and I think that will hold everything and make it very secure. But I could take it apart later if I really want to. Now I'm going to trim off those little pokey edges of the skewers that were still kind of sticking out, and then I'm going to apply some hot glue at each of those points because I do want those to stay. No matter what I do to the wreath later, I'll want those. So now I'm going to make it a little festive, and I got these little bells. I think they come in like a 9-pack from the Dollar Tree, and I took a different skewer and I'm going to use that same rose gold paint, and I'm just going to use a little makeup sponge from the Dollar Tree and apply it on there lightly just to get rid of that bright shine. And then these 2 little snowflake with sticker on the back from Dollar Tree. I'm going to remove the stickers and use that same rose gold paint and paint both sides. And then I'm going to get my Epsom salts out again, if you remember that from a previous video. Again, I'm going to, after putting some glue on top, I'm going to sprinkle the Epsom salts over the top, and that will serve as like a fake snow effect. And that's what I'm doing right now. I have this very thin kind of a silver ribbon. You can actually see through it. It's either from Dollar Tree or Walmart. I can't remember now, but it was cheap. And I'm going to figure out how long I want to hang the bows down and then cut a piece of that. Now I'm stringing the bells down. So now I'm stringing the bells on there. It's kind of like my bow in this one. And I'm going to hang them and decide how that's going to look. And at first I think about adding the snowflakes, and then I decide to do that a little different as we go forward here. I'm going to attach them by tying a knot at the back, and then just see how they're hanging right below the wreath. And then I'm going to hot glue that in place, and then I'm going to trim off the little edges because there's just no reason for that to stick up right there. Now I did make the bells kind of close to each other and tight because I didn't want them ringing all the time when you barely touch the door. That would get really annoying, so I just wanted them to ring a little bit and just be a little bit, you know, holiday cheer. And this is when I decided I'm going to add the snowflakes right above the 2 bells, and I thought that looked really cute. And now I'm going to create a hanger, and I'm going to hot glue that to the back using that same ribbon, and then I'm going to cut a little teeny piece of a popsicle stick and paint it the rose gold, and I'm going to put that right over the ribbon just to hold it in place. And that's it for this one. It's done. My mom loves it. It looks great on her door. She's gotten compliments, and it's just blingy enough, but at the same time I can change out the little sign in there for winter and, you know, for whatever season it is, and it should be a lot of fun. I know once the spring comes, I'll just make her a new one. Wreath form, and this one's going to look very different. I took some fern that came out of a Dollar Tree pick, and I took individual leaves and I hot glued them all the way around the entire ring. And then I got some fall leaves in 3 different colors. I cut them off a garland from Dollar Tree, and I kind of placed them so that the same colors were not touching each other. And I know I could have stopped right here, but I did feel like it needed something more. So I got out my nautical rope that I got from Dollar Tree. It was either Dollar Tree or Amazon, and I decided to kind of go around in a very loose, loopy way, and I'm kind of calling it a lasso wreath. And what I did is I made sure that the rope was glued down the center of each leaf spine. I found this cute little light up wooden stand at Dollar Tree that says blessed. You can see the little light in there, and I removed the word blessed from the front, and I'll try to use the rest of that for another project. The first thing I did is I painted the sign with the home decor, the folklore color sheepskin, and then I decided to distress it with Waverly's antique chalk paint, and it still wasn't enough, so I darkened it up a bit. And then I got this idea that maybe I need it to kind of shine a little, so I took my Arteza acrylic marker in the color bronze, and I just kind of scored it up and down, and it actually makes it look more like wood. And then I took a little black around the edges of the letters just to make them stand out more, and now put some Mod Podge on it, and I think it looks great. And I hung it with twine in the center of the wreath, and that's it. I love this one. It's just so cute, and it definitely fall. Those colors are very vibrant, you know, and I've never seen a wreath quite like this, so if you have, let me know. Otherwise, maybe I came up with something. The lasso wreath, that's it. Got a little mini wreath, and I've got these carrots from Dollar Tree, and then I've also got some greenery that I got at the Target dollar spot. These wreaths come 2 in a pack, and you just have to really look closely to figure out where to cut them apart. I almost thought they were just one. Now I've gone ahead and I'm hot gluing little leaves from this greenery that I got, and then I'm going to attach the carrots. Now I'm figuring out the pattern or design that I want to do right now, and I end up putting kind of a little row of leaves, and then I'm going to put 5 carrots hot glued to it. Super easy, super fast, and it came out adorable. I decided to take that burlap black chevron ribbon again and use that to create a cute little faux hanger that's going to have the hanger on the back, which is just another little piece of jute twine. And you guys, that's it. I love this one. It was so easy, so cute, and so inexpensive. Oh my gosh. You know, crafts don't have to be super complicated to be fun and really cute. This didn't require any special techniques, and I just threw it together. And I really think anyone could make this. At Target Dollar Spot, and I don't want to use the flowers for this. I just want to use the rings, so I'm going to pry them off. They had them wrapped in this heavy duty little metal thing. It took some serious muscle, but I did it. And now I can use this to create my next project. I'm going to take some lavender pics, and now I'm going to paint this ring black with my ink Waverly chalk paint, both sides of course, and I just love the way that looks. I think that just really nice. I love the original color, but it just isn't going to go with what I'm trying to do today. I'm going to remove the tag and trim down my little lavender pick, which I did get at the Dollar Tree, by the way. They have some pretty good ones this year. I also like the ones at Walmart too. Now I've got this really cute striped ribbon from burlapfabrics.com, and I'm going to use this throughout this particular DIY. I absolutely love this ribbon. And of course I'm using my tin snips to cut these, which I love. They are so handy. I'm going to take a little piece of jute twine and just tie my pieces of lavender together. I want them to have the look like they're hanging, like when you hang dried flowers. So I'm just going to do that, wrap around the excess little bit of twine and hot glue it down. I'm going to fan out my pieces of lavender so that they kind of fill the entire ring. And then I'm going to take that adorable ribbon and I'm going to wrap it around the ring 3 different places, at the bottom, in the middle, and towards the top. And I think it just looks so cute. You know, sometimes you wrap around the whole ring, but I just wanted to add some accents because I want the lavender to be the focal point. And now I'm just trimming the excess that might show through. Now that I've got the ribbon wrapped around 3 times, I'm going to take some more of that same ribbon and I'm going to wrap it around the very bottom of my little bouquet of lavender. I just thought that would look really cute. And I'm going to hot glue it down. And then after that's done, I'm going to position it on the ring and then I can hang it like upside down and it looks so cute. It's very lightweight, so I can just use hot glue to attach it and it's going to stay just fine. And because I love this ribbon so much, I'm going to cut a little piece that I can wrap around at the very top, and then I will add a little bit of jute twine behind it and hide the hanger so it looks like the cute ribbon is the hanger, but really the jute twine behind it is. And I love doing that. It just makes it look so finished, but not secure to hang it by that really. So by putting the jute on there, it really does help make it secure. And to make the back look finished off, I'm going to cut another small piece of that ribbon and I'm going to cover the knot right over the back of the jute twine, and then all you'll see is the little hanger. And that is just so perfect. It looks much more finished now. Now, honestly, anyone could stop right here. Well, except me, of course. So I'm going to take some jute twine, wrap it around, and I'm going to make it just a little kind of a messy bow with it. I'm going to tie it around the middle, cut open the loops and trim it, and I'm just going to hot glue it right to the center of where the gathering is of the lavender. And then I will be done. Believe it or not, but I think this turned out so cute. I really love it. This first DIY, I'm taking a hat from the Dollar Tree, a scarf from the Dollar Tree, and some florals that I already had on hand. And I don't think they came from the Dollar Tree, but maybe they did. And I'm going to take my tags off, and I'm going to take that red scarf off of the hat because I don't need it. This is just going to be such a simple, fun thing to do and fitting in with that cottage core trend that's going on right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my blade and then my scissors, and I'm going to cut some little slits in the hat, right where the top of the hat meets the brim. And what I want to do is kind of weave the scarf in and out around the entire hat. So once I get that cut and then on the inside, and then I've got to fluff it and glue pieces down, just to make it look good, because it never does what you want. And the hats at Dollar Tree, honestly, are super cheap. And so some of the slits I cut, they came apart even bigger. So I just had to hot glue and kind of make it look like they were just woven in and out. So just a warning, if you do get a Dollar Tree hat, just know that's going to happen. And once I get them all situated though, I am going to tie the scarf into a knot, and it's just going to look so cute on there. Doesn't that just remind you of picnics out in the English countryside? Which goes with the cottage core trend that's happening. It's very country, cottagey, English almost. It's so cute. Now that I've got the top dealt with, I'm going to turn it over and work on the bottom, and I'm going to secure things there because I just don't want it to pull through. This is just going to be something you can hang on a wall or set on a shelf kind of as a piece of decor. And it won't be touched a lot, but I still don't want anything to happen. And I used some jute cord to make a little hanger. Very simple, just cut a piece, hot glued it, and then put a little masking tape over it. You're never going to see that because that will be up against the wall or laying on top of something. Next, I'm going to start adding some florals. So I had pulled a few aside, and now I'm just going to figure out which ones that I actually do want to use for this. I love those kind of off-white ones. I think they look great, so I'm definitely going to do that. And then I'm going to add in some of the yellow too because I want to make it all tied together. But I don't want to overdo it, so I had extras. I didn't end up using them because I think they were just too much. I even cut one off and put it up there and looked at it, and then I thought, no, just remember, less is more. That's kind of my mantra. Then I got these natural wooden beads that I had gotten from Amazon, and I picked the larger ones. And I'm literally going to hot glue one to every intersection where I made a little, I guess, kind of poof, if you will, for the scarf. And I think it looks so cute. I'm not going to paint them. I'm not going to do anything. Just hot glue them right onto the hat. I'm honestly loving this look. Please let me know what you think. Would you make something like this? I mean, it's so easy. This is just super easy. I mean, why not try it? From the Dollar Tree and these Patriotic straws from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to first take some jute twine and I'm going to wrap it all the way around this ring and hot glue it every so often because I need something for everything to stick to. And the metal rings aren't really the best thing to do with hot glue. They just don't stick. And then that little sign in the middle, "You're a grand old flag," is also from the Dollar Tree. Now I'm going to cut out my straws in different shapes because I'm going to come up with a pattern. I'm literally just making up my own pattern, so you could do whatever you want. This is just the pattern that kind of came to me. And now I'm hot gluing that little sign directly onto the jute twine that's wrapped around the ring, and this makes it stay really well. I'm going to start attaching the straws in a pattern about midway down the "You're a Grand Old Flag" sign. I'm going to do something else across the top. But what I'm doing is taking a small blue, a large blue, and then a small blue, And then the same thing with the red, and alternating every 3. That's the pattern I kind of came up with. Now, once I get this all the way around, I do go back and fill in. Now that that initial pattern is established, I still have gaps in there, so I go back over the top with the opposite color that's underneath it. And again, this was just a pattern that I kind of was making up as I was going, and I liked it. And then I cut some of the red straws to cover where the straws all meet at the edges, and I kind of cut them at an angle so they would meet at a point and also down in the bottom corners there. And I just stopped it where the straws ended. I didn't go up and around the entire sign, because what I'm going to do there is I'm going to take some red and white carnations that I got from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to trim them down, and then I'm going to hot glue them to the jute twine, but I don't feel like that's secure enough. I didn't have any floral wire. I took some jute twine and I reached around front and I tied a little knot for each flower that I added, and that really held them secure, and I added a little more hot glue. This wreath was so easy and inexpensive, all Dollar Tree. You guys will have to tell me what you think. I think it's super cute and patriotic. Going to be a little different because I'm going to make a kind of a wreath inside of this gold basket. It's for my mother's door for the winter time, and we're just going to hang it from the back of the basket. Again, I'm using the pine cones that my husband collected for me. I literally have more than 140. It's crazy. I doubt that I'll use them all, but you know what? I've got them. And so I'm flocking all of them with that same white acrylic paint that I used on the other ones. And of course, this part is free other than the paint. Now I'm going to position them inside the basket using hot glue. So the first one, I have to put the glue on the basket first and then place the pine cone. And after that's in, I can do one pine cone at a time by putting them inside of the basket, because now they have a pine cone to kind of lean up against and not roll around. And I'm just going to do this for all of the pine cones and then add glue after the fact wherever I see a spot where it's touching the wire. I'm taking some more of that garland. I have it in gold and in white, and that's what I'm using for these projects today. And I'm going to do the same thing I did before, but I'm going to wrap it around my little silicone spatula, because that's going to be really easy. And I'm going to make several of them, and then I'm going to hot glue them into the center of this wreath. I have this holographic kind of like glittery, shimmery paint. I think it's from Walmart. And I'm just painting the very top little flowers of those pine cones to add extra sparkles and shine. It almost looks like pieces of snow when it hits the sun. I wanted to add a little greenery, but I needed it to stay in the winter theme, so I used some lambs here that I had picked up at Walmart a while ago. And I cut really small little batches of leaves, stuck them in there. Now some of them I ended up hot gluing and some just stayed really tight. I went ahead and I just played around with that till I got them exactly the way that I liked it. It's, you know, it's your craft, you can do it however you like. I had some of those little gold flowers similar to the silver ones that I had picked up, and I'm going to add 3 of them to create kind of the top of the wreath. It just adds the right touch and it gives it a focal point, and I really like it, and I hope you do too. Michael's because it was at least 30 inches, and I got some of the flowers at Michael's and everything else is from the Dollar Tree. With the grapevine wreath, I'm able to actually tuck the stems inside of the sticks of the grapevine. They just stick in there really well, and I did eventually glue everything down once I had it positioned exactly where I wanted it to be. And this one I made for our granddaughter. She recently bought a house and wanted to fill this really tall wall with a huge wreath. We talked about what she was looking for, and I grabbed these gorgeous flowers. She wanted them to be that kind of cream white color. I used some fern, I used some eucalyptus, some baby's breath, and I did the half wreath. That's what she wanted. So it goes up on the first part and down on the second part. And then I created a bow out of burlap, 2 different kinds, the kind I used before with the lace in it and the kind without, and it just turned out beautiful. It's really large and definitely a statement piece. And of course, the most important thing of all is that she loved it, which made me very, very happy. Cool. I found this round wood piece with a hanger at the Target dollar spot. It was $3, and one side has got a whitewashed kind of look and one has got the wood. And then I found the word happy, the metal word happy, at the Dollar Tree. And then I have some flower picks. And so what I decided to do is hot glue the word happy across this wood round, and then I'm going to put some cute little flowers and greenery around the bottom and just decorate it that way. It's super simple, but it just feels like spring, you know, because spring makes you happy, especially after all the snow and whatever in the winter. So I just thought, what a cute wall hanging this would be. I kind of ran into this little dilemma. There were 2 holes in the metal word happy. I guess you could have hung it. Well, I already had a hanger on the wood round, so I decided to use these little pop-up button things from their stickers from the Dollar Tree, and I put them over the holes. But then I thought, oh, that looks weird just on the H and the 1P. So I just put a couple across each letter, and they were pretty colors and they were very spring-like, and I thought, you know what? That'll work. What do you guys think? Would you have done that, or would you have done something different? Let me know in the comments. I honestly love how this one turned out. I hope you guys do too. DIY. We've got some beautiful flowers from the Dollar Tree, and I've got a basket I got at the Target dollar spot. I think it was $3. Isn't it cute? I'm going to use some lace and ribbon that I already had on hand and some little round styrofoam balls, and I'm going to fill up the basket with plastic bags that I have a lot of, just so I don't have to put so much in there to fill it up. Just really fills space where you need it. I'm going to use my tin snips, and I'm going to cut all these flowers down. They had really thick stems, and then I'm going to kind of play around with getting them in there, sticking them in the styrofoam. I didn't have a piece that was like a rectangle or whatever to fit in there. That's why I put the balls in, but I did hot glue the balls down so that they wouldn't move around, and that really made a difference. So if you ever have to use something that's a funny size, that will work. And like I said, just playing with all the different sizes. I'm going to also bring in some other leaves that I had. I believe I got these at the Target dollar spot, the extra ones I'm putting in at the end there. I'm going to use one handle like as a hanger and the other handle is sort of the front. Now I'm going to take some floral wire and I'm going to squeeze the two back corners of this basket because I want it to be more flat on the back, and that way it'll lay up against the wall better and it won't like look like it's falling over. So I just stick the floral wire in there and kind of create a little pinch and then twist it as tight as I can. And that seemed to work. That really helped get it to the place where I really wanted it to be. After finishing squeezing the two corners in the back, I found this really pretty kind of greenish purple leaf pick, and I thought it would just look really nice and fill in that little opening I still had and just make this look fuller, the colors coordinate. And then I'm going to take my purple lace ribbon that I have, and then I also have a really pretty little beige colored ribbon from the Dollar Tree. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hot glue one to the front of the other, and then I'm going to wrap it around the basket right where there's a difference in size there, and then just tie it in the front. And it's so romantic and cottagecore, and I can just so see this in that setting. It's just adorable. I hope you guys like this one. It was beyond easy to make, and so many of the things I already had at home, but even if you didn't, this would have been extremely inexpensive. I really hope that you like it. It was really fun to make. I'm really kind of getting into these new styles. I think it's lots of fun. Let me know what you think about this idea of trying new things and, you know, just trying out different decor styles so we can all see what works, what doesn't, or even just to challenge yourself to do something new. That's important. We've got to always be learners. Never stop learning, never stop growing. At least that's the way I look at life. It keeps it interesting, and it definitely keeps it fun. And that's something I want, because from what I understand, that keeps us younger too. So, hey, listen, if you can say amen to that, write amen down in the comments. And once I get this ribbon tacked down the way I want it, this one is done. That's it. That's all there is to it. Bubble signs that Dollar Tree has, and I'm just going to draw a little line and use my blade, utility knife I guess, and I'm going to get rid of the little point at the bottom. I want it to look like the body of an Easter bunny. This one is going to be a cute bunny one. And then I also have this other sign from Dollar Tree that had different shapes on it. It had Easter eggs and different things, and I turned one of them into a head for the bunny, and I just took the whole thing apart. And then I also have that headband with the bunny ears, and I'm going to use that as well. So I'm hot gluing the two pieces together. I'm going to paint it with the Waverly chalk paint in plaster. I'm going to do 2 coats to cover it completely. I found a little bunny face online, and so I'm just looking at my phone and I'm freehanding the eyes and the mouth and the nose, which was super easy to do. Honestly, I'm not an artist by any means. And once I do that, I'm going to take my Arteza black paint marker and I'm going to go ahead and draw in the eyes. And so, or actually the eye, I only have one because it's a side view. It was so easy and it actually looks really cute. So don't be intimidated by trying to do something like this. It's actually not that hard. Dollar Tree sells these little tools, the one I'm holding. I think they're for scoring, but I use them for very precise painting like this because it's like a little point, but it's round, you know, like a ball tip. And so it works really well if you can find them in the Crafter Square section. I was so excited. I finally found the color ballet slipper from the Waverly chalk paint at Walmart. I've been looking for it for a long time. So I'm doing the nose with that color. It's so cute. And then I'm going to touch up where I went over the line a little bit. And afterwards, I'm going to use ballet slipper again to make the cute little rosy cheeks. I'm also going to use ballet slipper like dry brushing around the edges of the bunny because I just wanted a little bit of pink in there and I just love the way it looked. Now I'm going to attach the little bunny ears. I'm going to stretch it out a bit and then I'm going to hot glue it directly onto the head. And it looks so cute, you guys. Oh my gosh, I love it. I'm going to use one of these microfiber dust pads from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to cut out a little circle and make a fuzzy tail for the bunny. And that was just perfect. I'm also going to use this gray and white mop head and I'm going to start creating a circle with them, kind of like, you know, attaching them around the sides of itself. And I'm going to use hot glue and those will be the two little feet that you see on the one side. And I'm just looking for some different textures and I actually really liked the way that came out. It was super easy and I had lots of extra ones. I have one of those little baby carrots from the Dollar Tree. I've been using them in several different DIYs and I just put it there like he was holding it. And now I'm going to take some floral pics from Dollar Tree, just really vibrant, beautiful colors, and I'm going to cut off the little pieces and I'm going to create a little bouquet that I'm going to wrap in some ribbon that I got, I believe at Walmart. Really pretty burlap ribbon with lace on it. And I'm just going to hot glue that directly to the center of the bunny. I'm going to get some jute twine and I'm going to make a cute little bow, the kind where you just wrap it around your fingers a bunch of times, tie the center, and then snip the loops. I'm also going to fill in the little hole above the eye with some hot glue and then paint it with the plaster. Super easy, you guys. I mean, seriously, this was such an easy one and it came out so cute, so festive. I'm just so happy with how it turned out. You'll have to tell me what you think. I really love it. Two of the Dollar Tree splatter screens and some fabric that I already had at home, and then that hula skirt again in hot glue, and some leaves that I also got from the Dollar Tree. Once I decided which fabric I did want to use, I opened that up and I traced the circle part of the splatter screen twice so that I had one for each, and then I hot glued it around the edges to the actual splatter screen. I positioned the two splatter screens so they overlapped and brought the two handles together, and that's going to be the pumpkin stem, and then I hot glued the pieces that were touching together. In order to highlight the indentations that make it a pumpkin, I used my nautical rope and I hot glued it around all of the edges and then both of the other edges that kind of are in the middle of the pumpkin, you'll see. I'm going to wrap this same nautical rope around the two handles to make a pumpkin stem. And then I'm going to take some little pieces of jute twine that I just had left over from trimming something, and I'm going to create a little bit of a frayed top so it looks a little more stem-like, like a dried out stem. And then I come in with my Waverly wax paint in antique to just kind of make the stem look a little darker, and I'm going to use some of those Dollar Tree leaves. Make a little leaf arrangement on the top with hot glue, and then I'm going to use my raffia, or actually hula skirt, and make a bow. I had some lace laying around, so I thought I'd just use that to kind of spice it up a bit on top of the raffia, and I really liked the way it turned out. Super cute. And then I made a little hanger for it in the back with some more of the rope and little popsicle sticks. And here it is. How pretty is that? Oh my gosh, I really love it. Be sure to let me know what you think in the comments. I love that fabric so much. It just
Burner cover from Dollar Tree, some burlap ribbon from Walmart, and a placemat from Dollar General. I'm going to take my burner cover and I'm going to trace around the picture on the placemat. It looks like a wreath, and I think it's really cute. And then I'm just going to take my scissors and cut it out inside of the line that I drew so that we won't see any of that. Next, I'm going to hot glue the placemat picture that I cut out to the inside of the burner cover, just on the edges. That's all it needs. And after I do that, I'm going to go ahead and make my hanger now before I add all the extra stuff. So I'm going to use actually a little bit of a mop head from Dollar Tree. Just since there's cotton in the picture, I thought a white rope would look the best. I'm going to hot glue it and then put a little extra hot glue and some masking tape, trim off the edges, and that's going to hold really well. Now I'm going to take that burlap ribbon from Walmart and I'm going to make 3 little pleats, and I'm going to, evenly put them together with some hot glue. Then I'll create a little poof, and you'll see here in just a second how I'm going to do that. And then I'll make 3 little pleats again and make another poof, and I'll just keep doing that until I have a large enough garland to go all the way around the wreath. Now you can make your little poofs as big or as small as you like. You could push them close together, or you could spread them out kind of like I did. I just wanted something very simple, very farmhouse, and that's the look I was going for. The little tool I use to hold the hot glue while it's drying so I don't burn myself is a little makeup spatula. It's made out of silicone. You can get them at the Dollar Tree. I actually ordered mine on Amazon. They're in my Amazon store. It's a lifesaver. Oh my gosh. And I'm just going to speed this up so I can finish making the rest of the poofs to go all the way around my wreath. Once I have enough to go all the way around, I'm going to take the end and I'm going to put one little edge of that burlap on the inside of the ridge of the burner cover, and I'm going to hot glue it, and I'm going to do that to every little section where it's gathered with the pleats. And then I will go around and I will do the outside as well. That way it is nice and secure on the wreath. And then I'll cut off the end when I finally finish getting all the way around, and I will attach those to each other where the beginning and the end met with some hot glue. I want to make sure that the back is very secure and it's not all poofy back there. So I'm just going to put a little dot of hot glue in the middle of each poof only on the back and flatten it a little bit. And that way when it's on the wall, it won't stick up. I think that's going to make it more secure too. My friend Jenny from Lovely Moments Creating gave me these really cute little cotton balls that I'm going to use later in this project. I've also got this gorgeous ribbon from the Dollar Tree. It's like a burlap lace combination. And I am just going to hot glue that in the center of every poof and kind of make another little bump, if you will, over the poofs with the ribbon. I think that just adds a lot of interest and it makes it so pretty and so farmhouse looking. And really all that's missing now for this wreath is a bow, and I'm going to use this netted twine ribbon or netted jute ribbon from burlapfabric.com, and it is gorgeous. It's wired. I love working with it. I'm just going to make like an awareness ribbon, pull the center down, and then I'm going to use that same white mop head rope, and I'm going to just tie that around the middle. Again, it kind of goes together with the cotton theme. And then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to cut off the ends, and I'm going to put that right at the top center of my wreath. I just love it. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. And I'm going to take those little cotton pics. I'm going to put one right in the center of the bow, And that's it. This is done. Oh my gosh, you guys, I love this so much. I just put the wires through and twisted them in the back and trimmed the ribbon, tacked it down, and that's it. This guy is so cute. It's so farmhouse, and it was actually super easy to do. And again, using the Dollar Tree stove burner cover, it's amazing what you can create out of those things. I hope you guys like it. This time I'm going to use that lace that I used earlier on the first pumpkin. So I'm going to follow the same steps, cut out the circle, but this time I thought it might be easier to just glue the piece on and then cut around it once it was attached. And I was right, it definitely was easier to do it this way. I was going for more of a farmhouse look on this one, so I used some beads that I purchased from Amazon. You get quite a few, a lot of different sizes, very reasonable price. I'll try to leave the link in the description for you. And I watered down some of that pumpkin Waverly paint, and I put the beads on a skewer stick from Dollar Tree, which makes it a lot easier to paint them. And I went ahead and I painted them with that watered down paint. I started off with about 32 in each of the colors I'm going to use, and I did end up having to paint a few more just to finish the outline of the pumpkin. Then I did some in the plaster color to create the lines on the pumpkin like I had done with the robe on the previous one. The next step is I assembled the pumpkin out of the 2 splatter screens like I did before, and I hot glued them together, and then I'm going to take those cute little beads that I painted and I'm going to hot glue them all the way around the edges to create that outline of the pumpkin. I'd also like to thank you so much for watching my videos and supporting me and encouraging me. You guys are really the best community of best lifers, and I appreciate everything you do. In keeping with that farmhouse theme, I'm going to lightly dry brush the antique Waverly wax onto all of the beads and then wipe a little bit of it off just to give it a little bit of an aged look. And I think it really looks great like this. And then I actually go back again with that orange paint and the plaster paint because I go back and forth till I get the color I like. And that's the thing, you can go back and forth until it looks exactly the way you want. There's no right or wrong way to do this. For this pumpkin stem, I'm going to use some of the jute twine, which is a lot smaller, and I'm going to wrap it all the way around the handle and hot glue it. I'm going to add a few more of those leaves from Dollar Tree and also a little raffia bow, again out of the hula skirt. I had picked up one of those little thankful signs with a light in it from Dollar Tree, and very easily the words come right off the front of it, and I went ahead and painted it with the watered down pumpkin paint, and then I also dry brushed that and hot glued it to the center, and that finished off this project. I love how this came out. Oh my gosh. And I decided I'm going to repurpose it. I'm going to remove the fall florals, and now I'm going to add some really pretty spring and Easter type flowers and some greenery. And literally it's just so easy because I wrapped it in nautical rope. It's so easy to attach, and you can use hot glue. You don't have to. A lot of it will just stick right in between the pieces of nautical rope. And I'm just going to arrange the different florals just the way I like it. You know, first I'm going to add the greenery around, and then I'm going to put different colored flowers in there. And you can do this any way you like, whatever colors fit your decor, whatever you like. I was just going for super springy, festive, vibrant colors. You guys, I'm in love with these little carrots, as you can tell. So I decided to add some to this wreath. I just think they are so cute, and I just love the bright orange color. So I added 4 to the bottom of the wreath, and they're just so cute. I cannot get enough of these carrots. This little grass pick that I got at Dollar Tree has butterflies in it. So I cut out 3 of the butterflies and I put the purple one in the center between the carrots and the 2 pink ones on the sides of the wreath. And I just love the extra little touch. It's so spring and Easter. I have this cute little wire garland from the Dollar Tree, and it's got little white, I don't know if they're berries or flowers on it, and I just had a little bit left over, so I wrapped a little bit on each side, and I just thought it added a nice little touch, and again, really just created that festive Easter spring feel that I was going for. I love how this turned out, and I hope you guys like it. I can't wait to hang it on my door once the snow melts. Dollar Tree a long time ago, and I thought I'm going to come up with something to do with it. So first thing, to get that tag off, which is impossible without the heat. And then I'm going to paint the entire thing with my Kills White primer paint. And I'm just doing that so everything will stick to it better. I know the handle's wood, so I didn't have to, but I love the way it looks when you do white under antique wax by Waverly. I just think it makes the wood even look better. So that's what I did. Next, I'm going to do a full galvanized look by using Waverly Steel, the chalkboard black paint, burnt umber, and this brushed metal silver that I got by Folk Art. And what I'm just going to do is start off with the steel, and I'm not doing a strong coat on purpose because I want you to see the white through it. Then I'm going to take a little brush and just dab the black all over it. You can see how I've covered it. And then I'm going to take the brushed metal silver and I'm going to dull down the black, and that leaves me with a really realistic looking, like old shovel look, like it's dirty and been used. Then I'm going to take the burnt umber with a makeup sponge and go around edges and make it look kind of rusted and weathered wherever there's a seam, an edge, anywhere I think that it would have, shown age. And I love the way it looks. And then I'm just going to sand down the parts of the handle where I touched it and the paint came off. And then I'm going to use that black paint with a sponge and go over it so it looks like a dirty handle. Isn't that amazing? That was a kid's shovel. Then I'm going to take this tag from Dollar Tree and I'm going to cut out some scrapbook paper that I got, I believe, at Walmart or Hobby Lobby. I can't remember. I got it last year. I'm just going to cut some strips. It kind of looks like a sweater pattern. And I just put it around the edges and then take my sanding sponge and in a downward motion clean up the edges. It just works so well. And I used a glue stick for that. And then I'm going to put the white paint over the top of it and some more of the scrapbook paper on the back. And then I'll do the same thing to clean up the edges. And then I've got to poke a hole through the middle so that I can get like a little string in there. I'm going to cover it with Mod Podge. And then I'm going to take the 2 little window clings that I showed you earlier that say Jingle Bells, cut them in half so they're 2 words, and put them on there diagonally. Super cute. And this will get covered again with Mod Podge. I'm going to take all these ribbons that I've collected over the years and some like twine. I'm going to wrap it around the short end of my square so it's 6 inches, and then I will cut them all down. I did 6 of each, and then I'm going to dovetail the ends of the ribbons, and then I'm going to do a messy bow. So I'm just going to stagger them. So 2 of one, 2 of another, all the way to the last one, and then repeat it again. And there's the finished one. Then I'm going to take that black and white baker's twine, tie around,
and that makes my messy bow. You got to do a lot of fluffing, which I did off camera. Take a piece of that little red and white ribbon just to make the center, hot glued on. I've got this pick of bells that I found. I think I got it at Hobby Lobby, and I'm just gonna hot glue it straight to the shovel, so a little bit of it is in the mouth of the shovel and most of it's attached to the handle. I have these really cute green evergreen picks I get at Amazon, and I'm gonna hot glue that right on there as well. Then I'm gonna take the messy bow, put it up at the top, and this is turning out so cute. I am loving it. I put a string around the back so it could hang. Also secured the messy bow a little more. I'm going to add the jingle bells by putting a little string through that and hot gluing it down so it sits exactly where I want it. You guys, I love this one. It's so cute. What do you think? I just had to do something with that shovel. I have one more. I'll have to come up with another plan for that. But I really love this one, and I hope you guys like it. I couldn't resist, you guys. I do love them. So I'm going to take this silver tray that I got at the Dollar Tree. It's actually pretty sturdy for a Dollar Tree tray. Took off the tags on the back. I'm just going to cut out that truck with the tree, and it says Merry Christmas. I'm going to put some Mod Podge down and lay the window cling right on top. Super easy. I am going to add a little bit of embellishments, but honestly, this barely took any time at all. Just what an easy thing to do, and it turns out so beautiful. I'll cover it with Mod Podge again just to make sure that the window cling stays in place. I'm not happy with how the Mod Podge looks after it dries, so I end up adding some polyurethane on the top of it later. Now I'm going to add my hanger on there, just put some twine, hot glue it on, and then put a pretty red ribbon over the top just to kind of make it look nicer on the back. I just do that. I don't know what it is, but I don't like the look of just plain twine there most of the time. I've got these evergreens from Amazon and some cute little picks from Dollar Tree, and this one I think was from Hobby Lobby last year on sale. And I'm just gonna do like a little corner swag thing where I put everything on one side or the top and then I put next to it. And it's just so pretty, just adds a little festive. Now you could just use this as a tray and not do all this, but since I decided to put a hanger, I thought it'd be really pretty to add a little bit of these embellishments. Now I'm going to add some other little picks that were cut off of like a Dollar Tree pick just to give it a little more dimension in that upper left corner. So I end up putting, I want to say like 6 of them on there. And then I put a pine cone right in the middle and those red berries from a pick. And that's it. This one is done. It's so stinking cute. You have to tell me what you think and guess who wants this one. If you've been watching me for a while, you already know, but tell me in the comments. I want to see if you guess. I love this one. Super fun. And again, so fast and easy to do. Look how pretty that looks. I'm sorry, I just really love it. So festive and Christmassy. It's going to basically be like a Christmas ribbon boho-ish kind of a wreath. I'm going to use the round hoops from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to use the smaller one, and these are all different ribbons except one is from, all of them are from the Dollar Tree. The one I'm using right now I had on hand. So I just cut them out to what I thought would be the right length based on my hoop. That's totally up to you. And I'm doing like a lark's knot to attach them. So watch, I'm going to put the ends together. I'm going to put the loop right under and then pull the rest through and then pull it forward. And I did that with all the ribbons. It kind of made it symmetrical. Whatever I had on one side, I put on the other. And now I'm going to cut them at an angle, so away from the center one going up to the left and up to the right. And that way the center ribbon will have like a little point on it. And I did just, you know, reds and greens and some gold. And then I've got this pick. I think it was from Hobby Lobby last year on clearance or sale, whatever. Just going to cut off some little pieces. So I've got these 2 little kind of, I guess they're pine type pieces, and I'm going to hot glue them. And then I'm also going to wrap a little piece of baker's twine around them because I feel like when you attach it to the metal, it doesn't always stay. Then I've got these beautiful frosted leaves, so I'm going to put one on each side. And then I've got this gorgeous flower that has like a little bit of snow on it, but it just wouldn't lay right. So I had to string it with the baker's twine, glue it, and then tie it around. And that really made all the difference in getting it to stay. That's the hard part about using metal rings, that just the glue doesn't always stick. You need something for it to hold on to. So I'm just going to tie a really good knot, and then I will make a little hanger out of it as well. And that way it'll be able to hang up. And then I've got these little berry picks. I'm going to put 2 of them in the center of the flower just to give it some more color. And I just thought that was so beautiful. And that is all there is to this one. It's so easy. You could use any ribbons you want. You could do it for Christmas, any time of the year. I just think that the possibilities are endless with this one. So I hope you'll try it. It's super easy, and I hope you liked it. With 16 of these hangers. I'm going to take sets of 2 and I'm going to put them like long side to long side and make sure that the little handles are pointing the same direction on each one. I'm going to take my zip ties and I'm going to put one at the top and one at the bottom, and that's going to hold them very securely. I'll repeat this for all of them. Here we are down on the floor and I could not get this on my desk because it is so big now. These are each just pieces of 2, so let me carefully pull one apart and you will see. Here is the combination of 2 together. They're put together right here and right here with the zip tie. And all I've done is lay them down so that the left one right here overlaps with the right one next to it. And then what I'm going to do is just position these so that these 2 pieces are next to each other, and these 2, the top of the hanger fits within the points of the star next to it. So I've done that all the way around. Now we're going to take the task of connecting them all. I buy my zip ties at the hardware store because it's such a good deal. You get so many in one package, and then they're all different colors as well. So I would like to say, if you're someone who can't get on the floor, I can get on the floor. Getting up is a whole other story. That should be interesting. But if, let's say, mobility-wise, that's just not going to work for you to get on the floor. I would say clear off your kitchen table and do it on there, or any other large surface that you might have. My craft table just is not big enough for this. So we're going to start right here. And I'm not going to tighten them all the way yet. I'm going to get them pretty close. And then I'm going to leave it so I can go around and make some adjustments as we go. Now, I don't know about you, but sometimes I get confused with zip ties. If you look at this little opening right here, one side has 2 places that it looks like they could go in, and one side only has 1. That's the side you want to put it on, the side that only has 1. And you'll know because it'll make that noise, the little zippy noise. I'm just going to go ahead and do this for all of them. We'll come right back when they're all in. All right, so it makes sense to me, if you can see right here. So down towards the bottom of every point, there are these little top of the hangers, and it meets the bottom of the hangers. And if I do this at every single one of these points, I feel like that's going to hold this very stable. So let's give that a try. So look at that. Now it is all one piece. Great. So now I can take my little wire cutters and I'll be able to go around. And just so you know, one side is like deep and it's further apart right here, and the other side is flat and they come together, and that's where the cut happens. So I was trying to make that part be downward where I want it to be cut, because then I don't end up with a little bit of a ledge still that could really be sharp and scratch you. All right, so I just picked 4 spots, 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the center. I need to come up with a plan for all of these little ends just because I'm so frugal, I'm like trying to figure out what could I make with these. If you have any ideas, let me know in the comments, because I've got tons of these and I know it's just trash, but what if it was, you know, something we could maybe make snowflakes out of them? I don't know. Just a thought. We can turn it over, and now we can just go around and make sure that all of those wide parts of the zip ties are in the back. So I have turned all of the little pieces of the zip ties to the back that are bulky. And then I've got these little snowflakes from the Dollar Tree. They're actually ornaments. They came 10 in a pack. And then I'm going to put something else here that's very decorative, and I think that's what I'm going to do besides lights. So this is too big for me to bring my glue gun down here. I don't want to get any glue on my rug. So I'm going to do the gluing off camera. All I'm going to do is take off the little hanger. I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue on it, and I'm just going to find the best spot for it to stay. Now back to my craft table. I've got this cute little sign on a stick from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to use some faux snow and these 3 silver snowflake ornaments with my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint. I'm going to use my staple remover from Amazon and just pull out those staples so I can take off the jute cord. And then I'm going to take off the stickers, and I'm going to heat up the little stick on the back and just loosen that glue. And with my spatula, I'm just going to take it off. I'll sand it all down off camera, and then I'm going to cover both sides and the edges with the white paint. I'm going to lay down some Mod Podge, and I'm just going to apply the faux snow all over the front of it. I think that looks beautiful. Now I'm going to hot glue the 3 ornaments on, just kind of in a little pattern. And then I've also got this cute little like silver glittery floral piece from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to take off the little pincher thing, cut down the stem, and I'm going to hot glue it right to the center. I'm going to use some chenille stems or pipe cleaners. I'm going to bend them so there's a flat portion and then 2 sides sticking up. And then I'll put some felt over the top of that just to secure them even further. I've added the little stars onto those intersections where the top of the hangers all meet. I'm going to attach the other piece that you saw me create, which is this one. And then I put those pieces on the back, similar kind of a concept. So I'm going to go ahead and stick it on here and put those pipe cleaners through and then twist them in the back, and that'll hold this very secure. And I'll show you when it's all on there and I get the lights on. This turned out absolutely gorgeous. I can't believe how beautiful it is. I did wrap some fairy lights all the way around all the parts. It took about 5 different strings of fairy lights. I got those on Amazon, and I absolutely love how this turned out. Now, this project took quite a while to do, but look at the end result. I think it's so worth it. I just can't believe this was made out of plastic hangers. Seriously, it's amazing. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Hack. We're going to use 12 hangers, and we're going to make an angel. So here are my hangers. I've got some zip ties, and then I've got a wood bamboo round from the Dollar Tree. The first thing I'm going to do is take 2 of the hangers, and I'm going to cross them at the bottom corner and make sure that the handles are facing opposite directions. And then I'm going to overlap that very pointed area at the bottom and make sure that it's just sitting nice and flush. And then I'm going to put a zip tie right towards the bottom to make sure that part stays in place. Then I'm going to put a dab of hot glue at the top just so that doesn't move while I'm trying to work. And I'm going to snip off the end of my zip tie. I'm going to make 2 of those exactly the same. I'm going to take my hot glue gun and I'm going to poke some holes in that one corner of each of those, that intersection. It almost looks like a butterfly, doesn't it? These are the angel wings. So I'm going to make a hole on each one, and you can put it through both sides if it's not, coming through real clear. I just poked it a few times until I got a nice hole. Then I'm going to take some white twine and I'm just going to string it through, and I'm going to tie these pieces together. I could have made larger holes and used zip ties. I just decided to use the white twine. I'm going to tie that together and knot it off. Now we'll work on the body of the angel. I'm going to take 2 hangers and lay them like a V kind of. You can see what I'm doing where the ends are together, and then I just tucked the 2 hangers underneath each other, and I'm going to make 2 more holes on each one of those ends, and I'm going to tie that piece together with the white twine. Then I'm going to take a zip tie and I'm going to connect it right in that little section where it kind of indents, because I want to make sure this is going to stay nice and firm. And then I'm going to take a third hanger and I'm just going to overlap the two ends with a slight bend. If you look at it from the side, kind of just slightly angles. I'm going to make the holes and I'm going to string in the twine and tie that together as well. I'm going to end up making 2 pieces just like this with the 3 hangers. Now I'm going to take each one and I'm going to put them in reverse of each other so that there's an opening in the center. I'm going to make a hole on the bottom ones of each to connect them and put the string through it. And then I'm going to take my hangers at the top where they meet and just kind of crisscross them over. Then I'm going to make some holes at the very top of all this. And I'm going to stick the hot glue gun back through because I want to see how I can line them up. So I want to push it all the way through so it touches the hanger underneath. And that way I can then go and put my holes in exactly the right place. I hope that makes sense. You could do that with a pen or a pencil as well. So there we are. I've got that top piece connected very nicely. So now you can see that's like the neck. It's going up to the head. And I'm going to take my little bamboo ring and I'm going to paint it with the Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint. And once that dries, I'm going to lay this all on the floor again. You can see the wings on the top and then the body of the angel down below. And I'm going to zip tie those 2 top pieces to the wings, as you can see, where the little point is. And then I'm going to drill some holes where the head goes. And I'm going to use the zip tie. I'm going to make the holes bigger. That's why I'm using a drill, so that I can attach the little hoop as the head. And there it is. Oh my gosh, you guys, I put the lights on it and I think it's gorgeous. It is just so beautiful. I used quite a few lights. I ordered them on Amazon. They come in like 6 in each pack, very reasonably priced for how many little lights you get. And I love the fairy light look so much. You have to tell me if you like this one and if you would be willing to do this. Again, not as long as the star took to make, but still a hanger hack. It only takes 2 hangers and this is the easiest and quickest of all of them. I'm going to take 2 hangers. I've got these googly eyes from the Dollar Tree and these little wood scraps I had. I've got some ornaments from the Dollar Tree, and these little headbands came in a Michael's grab box, so I just thought I'd use them. I'm going to take my 2 hangers back to back, if you will, with the hangers the same direction pointing up, and then I'm going to angle it across so you see that little section at the top looks like almost like a heart, and I'll overlap the bottom. I'm going to put a zip tie right in between that little heart intersection that I just mentioned. I'm going to keep it loose at first. Then I'm going to add another one just below where one of the hangers is, and then I add one again on the other side. I end up taking that one out because I don't really need an extra one. It just kind of bulks it up. And then I end up putting one at the very bottom, and that's when I realized I didn't really need both sides. I'm going to tighten them so that I'll be able to trim my little zip ties. And this is when I realize I do need one at the bottom because it wants to pull apart there. So I'm just going to get one right down there at the bottom. So there you go. And now it's super secure. I'm going to pull on the side so you can see just how good it's holding. And there are the zip ties I ended up using. I'm going to take one of the bulbs. I'm going to take a shiny one, and I'm going to pull off that little cap at the top. I had to use my snippers to do it, but once I've got it, I'm going to take my snippers and just get rid of that piece that sticks out, that the hanging part was attached to, and then I'll just make sure I can get it as flat as I can. I'm going to use a combination of E6000 and hot glue, and I'm going to attach it right at the bottom, and this is going to be my little reindeer's nose. I don't know if I told you that, but this is Rudolph, and that's going to hold that very securely there. I'm going to take my 2 little oval wood pieces that are scrapped. I'm just putting that there so I have something to attach the eyes to. You could use anything. I just happen to have these in my stash. And I'll put some E6000 and hot glue on those as well. And then I'm going to take my little googly eyes, and because they're bloodshot, you know, I think they're probably for Halloween or something, I'm going to take my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint, and I'm going to paint over all that bloodshot. And Rudolph doesn't have blue eyes that I know of, so I'm going to use my burnt umber paint by Apple Barrel, and I'm just going to cover the center of his eyes. I'm going to use my Noir furniture marker from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to do an outline around. It's basically black. You could use any marker you want. I didn't trust myself to be steady with a paintbrush. On the back side of these little eyes, I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm going to cut out a hole so that it gives me a little flat surface to attach them. I'm going to go ahead and use the E6000 and the hot glue combination again, and I'm just going to put those right down on that wood, which I also painted white, by the way, and that's going to hold those eyeballs very securely. Now I'm just going to pull off that little felt greenery right off those headbands. It came off super easy, and I'm going to cut off the little bows. And I thought these were just so cute. They already had little snowballs on them and everything. So I'm going to put 2 on each side. I'm just going to hot glue them down and just make them look the way I think looks really cute. Next, I'm going to take that white paint. I'm just going to accent the eyes a little bit. I'm going to make a little curve on each side and then kind of a dot at the bottom. It just gives the eyes kind of like a glistening effect. Next, I'm going to take my fairy lights from Amazon, and I'm just going to unravel them. They already come with a battery in, which I love, and I'm just going to hot glue it on the back. I'm going to make sure that it's glued in a secure spot and that the screws are facing up so I can change the battery when I need to, and then I have access to the on and off switch. I wrapped it in fairy lights, and that's it. This one is adorable. I hope you would consider making this one because it was so easy. And you're gonna have to let me know what you think down in the comments. I am in love with all of them and I hope that you guys like them too. Please let me know down in the comments which one was your favorite and if you would like to recreate any of them. If you need to, you can always slow down the video if you're trying to believe. A little ornament, reindeer head, snowflakes, bottle brush trees, and a foam wreath, and then that white towel from the automotive section. I'm going to use my white chalk paint and I'm going to paint all around those words and then use this brushed metal gold paint from Folk Art to paint over the top. I just didn't like exactly the way that gold looked that was on there. I'm going to change it again anyway. And then I'm going to flock all 3 of these trees and get them ready to place on the wreath when we make it. And I'm going to layer my little snowflakes. I cut out the center of that white one and you see it on the left there. I'm going to end up putting it on the back so it shows through. And I just thought that made it look even cuter. And then I'm going to take off those red berries and I'm going to put some silver on his little bell, and then I'm going to flock his little wreath around his neck, or what garland around his neck. Now I'm going to take my foam wreath form and my little white towel, and I'm going to cut some slits in the middle, and I'm going to start hot gluing it, but I end up cutting a lot of this off until I can wrap it. I don't want it to be super bulky and bumpy, which is hard to do. I could have done strips, but then it frays really bad, so I was trying to minimize the amount of fraying that would be kind of on an open end. So I'm just going to let you watch as I cut and tuck and glue until I get it all covered. It's kind of hard to describe how to do it, so you'll see what I did. I cut little like slits. If you have an easier way, I would definitely do that. I have never covered a foam wreath like this in fabric, so I'm sure that there is a better way, but it worked. It got the job done, and that was all that I was concerned about. And as long as the front looked good, that's what mattered to me, because it's going to be all white no matter what. There it is. I think it looks pretty good on the front. Now I'm going to make a hanger before I add anything else to it. I'm going to take some of this mop head and I'm going to cut a piece, and I'm just going to hot glue it right at the top where I've decided the top is. I'm going to hot glue each of the ends, and then I'm going to cut a couple pieces of the faux leather from Dollar Tree and just hot glue a little like rectangle piece to the end though, so that they don't kind of start fraying apart, because the mop heads do tend to do that. And plus it's white and I think it looks nice and it kind of finishes it off. What I'm going to do is turn it over, and I'm going to put my little snowflakes up towards the kind of right upper side. I'm just going to hot glue that. It sticks really well to that towel. Then I'm going to start putting my little trees. I'm going to have to hold it up because I want them standing up in the center like a little scene. So once I figure that out, I will hot glue those down, and they stay really well next to each other because of the bottle brush aspect. They kind of intertwine a little bit. Then I'm going to take my reindeer ornament head and I'm going to put him on the inside like a profile, and I think that looks super cute. Now I put the third tree on and then I took it off because it was going to be blocked by my sign, so I kind of put it towards the back in between the 2 trees so you just see it poking up. Now I'm going to take my believe sign, because I still wasn't happy with it. I'm going to put Mod Podge all over that, and I'm going to put some silver glitter on it, and I think that just does the trick. Makes it look very snowy and festive, and I'm not a big glitter fan, but I do think that's what this one needed. So once I get that all on there, I'm going to paint the back white, because I hadn't done that yet. And now I'm going to figure out the placement on the front of my wreath, and I'm going to attach some more of that mop head to it with a really good strong amount of hot glue. And I'm going to put a little more of that faux leather over each of those ends to hold it in place. The same exact thing on the other side, so they're both attached to the sign. And then I'm going to put the sign on with hot glue, and it stays very well, but I have another way I'm going to secure it, and I'll show you that in just 1 minute here. Okay, turn the wreath over, and I'm going to take the remaining part of the strand of the mop head, and I'm going to glue it all the way up to where the hanger is, and that just really secures that sign. So I'm super happy with this, you guys. It's so cute. I hope you like it.
Are you ready for more inspiration? I've got another video here I think you will really like. Click on it. I will see you there. You are truly a blessing to me. Bye.